Not yet. Alright, we're up on Twitch. And then final test. There we go. Think we're going to be up and running, guys. We'll get started. Yep. Here we go. Alright, what's up, guys? Hope you're having a good day. In this live stream, we're going to be researching the fight between Cory Sandhagen and Petr Yan. So if you're watching this live stream back on YouTube after the fact, just know this is a live research session. It's not like a usual breakdown video or anything like that. This is me researching the fight with you guys to see if we can dig up a strong position on this fight. I always just want to let you guys know because after these live streams get uploaded, I often ask people, or I often get comments with people saying, why aren't there any timestamps? There's no structure to this video, etc, etc, etc. Just to let you know, it's a live stream. That's why there's no structure. We don't know where we're going to be going with this live stream. We're just trying to figure out if it's worth betting this fight. So let's get into it. So we will start off by taking a look at the odds on this one. We'll give it a refresh as well in case the odds have moved. So we've got Cory Sandhagen currently around about a 3.0 underdog, which is going to be plus 200 for an implied probability of 33%. And then if we take a look at the odds on Petr Yan, he's currently around an average of 1.40. which is going to be minus 250 for an implied probability of 71%. So in the eyes of the bookies, this fight is 70-30 in favour of Yan. And I've got to be honest with you, those odds do seem a little bit crazy to me. I think whenever you're researching a fight like this, it's important not to maybe focus so much on who's going to win, but instead focus more on who is going to give you the better risk to reward ratio. And in order for Petr Yan to deserve odds in this odds range, in order for Petr Yan to deserve being a 1.40 minus 250 favourite, in order for Petr Yan to carry an implied probability of 70%, realistically, this should be an easy fight for him, and he should have virtually no way to lose, and he should be able to dominate. I think anyone that knows anything about these two fighters would probably say that's not the case, and would probably say Sandhagen at the very least is likely to be able to make this a very competitive fight, which does make this fight super interesting for betting, because in my opinion these odds should be way closer together than they actually are. Sandhagen as a big underdog is a little bit of a head scratcher for me. I can only imagine, before we get into watching footage of both guys, it's because maybe a lot of wiki capping is having an influence on the odds. Maybe people are seeing that Sandhagen lost to Sterling. Petr Yan obviously on paper lost to Sterling as well, but in reality was very comfortable against Sterling. Maybe that's going against Sandhagen. Maybe the loss on paper to Dillashaw is also leading people to perhaps underrate Cory Sandhagen here, with the logic being that Dillashaw was quite a bit older than Yan, coming back after a long layoff, coming back after a USADA suspension. If Sandhagen can't beat Dillashaw, what hope does he have of beating someone who's perhaps a lot better than Dillashaw and Petr Yan? I do get that logic, but I also think from a stylistic point of view, there's a lot of things Sandhagen does well which could potentially cause Petr Yan some big issues here. So we'll take a look, and hopefully we could dig up a bet on this fight. What I will say just before we start the research, I'd be very surprised if I bet Petr Yan at these odds. I feel that at 1.40 minus 250, I feel the bookies are kind of pricing us out of Yan there. I mean, look, Sandhagen's an incredible fighter. I think Sandhagen is a real tough test for anyone in the bantamweight division. I'm not sure if Sandhagen should be a 3.0 underdog against any bantamweight alive, or any bantamweight that's ever lived for that matter. So I mean, we'll see we'll see when we get into this if he's worth a bet, but those odds do seem a little bit funky to me. Hey, what's up, beep beep in my Jeep? Good to see you, mate. Yes, mate. Let's keep this this hot run going. This is the hottest run of my career by a long stretch, man. This is the biggest winning streak I've ever been on, so hopefully we can keep it going this week. It's kind of nice in a way that after such like a huge winning run, things are naturally cooling off a little bit because there's not much football midweek this week, so we can focus on UFC fight research instead. It's nice to kind of cool things down in that way. But I'm sure this weekend we're going to be back on it big time. What's up, Hilt? What's up, Hamilka Barkas? I hope I pronounced your name right, mate. I probably butchered that. I'm really sorry, but good to see you, Hamilka Barkas. And Hamilka is just saying, I think it's a no-brainer that the EV is in Salmon. I agree with you before jumping into footage, mate, for sure. Hamilka said, I think around plus 125 would be realistic. I caught him at plus 210. Yeah, I'm with you as well, dude. I'm really surprised that the odds aren't much closer to even money. So what I generally tend to do, I don't look at odds on fights that far in advance, because as we know, like max bet limits, liquidity is really, really low until fight week. I mean, even early on fight week is quite low, but it only tends to pick up a little bit in the days leading up to the fights. So I'm not one of these guys that really looks at odds really far in advance, because for me they're not real. You know what I mean? The odds are going to move around so much until max bet limits and liquidity picks up that it doesn't really make much sense to look at odds super early. So the first time I usually see odds for a fight is after the previous event finishes. So the Costa Vittori fight finished on Saturday, and I was like, right, let's take a look at the odds for next weekend. What have we got coming up? And when I saw Sandhagen was a 3.0 plus 200 underdog, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, that seems crazy to me. So, you know, hopefully, you know, we can dig up a bet on this one, keep this hot streak that we're on going. But Petr Yan's no joke, right? No picnic. It's not going to be an easy fight for either guy. I think we can all probably agree before going into this research session that this probably isn't going to be an easy fight for either guy, which is why Sandhagen is such a huge underdog odds. Doesn't really make much sense, because if we know this is going to be a tough fight for both guys, we know it's going to be competitive, why aren't the odds closer to even money? That's like what I'm wondering. So I'm looking forward to digging into the footage here and finding out. What's up, Hilts? What's up, Beep Beep in my Jeep? Beep Beep in my Jeep saying it's the best streak we've been on since he joined us. Yeah, it's been crazy last well, do you know what? So Beep Beep in my Jeep is saying it's been a crazy last 15 days. It's coming up for 2 months for me, man. This hot streak has been running for about 2 months for me. This is the biggest, like, 2-month streak I've ever been on, ever. Like, it's fucking stupid. Like, I'm not sure what the exact number is, because I'm betting so much at the moment the account balances jump around a lot, but I've made around $75,000 just in the last like 7 weeks alone, which is unbelievable. So I'm hoping we can do it again this weekend. And with kind of like the numbers I'm betting at the moment, it's realistic I could do 100k by the end of October. Like, if we have a big weekend this weekend, I can take 75k to 100k real fast, and to do that in 2 months is mental. Beep Beep in my Jeep is saying in the last 15 days we just don't lose a bet anymore. Wow. So Beep Beep in my Jeep is saying he's tripled his bankroll in the last 15 days. Yeah, it's insane, dude. It's crazy, man. Hopefully we can keep it going. Do you know what? I will say this. Obviously we've been on a crazy winning streak, but I will say that this card, like, doesn't look the best for betting. Like, if you scan through it, there's 15 fights on this card, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So out of the 15 fights on this card, we've got 12 heavy favourites, which, like, is okay if you can find really good value underdogs, like maybe Sandhagen. It's okay. But usually, when you've got a card with that many big favourites, you do just get, like, loads of one-sided fights, which means they're not the best for betting, because obviously it's difficult to bet guys at big favourite odds, because you're always getting a pretty bad risk to reward. Well, not always, but most of the time you're getting a pretty bad risk to reward ratio in MMA when you're betting big favourites. So this card does look tough. Like, great from a fan point of view, but if you can't find, like, good value underdogs, a card like this can be pretty tricky. Hey, what's up, Ace the Goat, dude? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you, dude. What's up, boys? What's up? What's up? Lots of comments to catch up on. Catch up on the YouTubes. What's up, Alpha Bravo? Good to see you, mate. What's up, Donatus? Donatus is saying, not sure this has been mentioned or anything, but in the Embedded series, Sandhagen has a pretty gnarly black eye. Oh, shit. No, I haven't watched Embedded yet. Thanks a lot for letting us know, man. It's a shame we're on YouTube, because I could go take a look at it now, but This video will get bloody flagged for copyright if I this video will get flagged for copyright if I bring up that embedded video. But thanks a lot for letting us know, Donatus. Thanks a lot, mate. Mbae is saying it's also probably because Sandhagen gives up his back a lot. Shouldn't be this big of an underdog. Yeah, I don't think Sandhagen giving his back up will be that much of an issue against Petr Yan. Obviously because Petr Yan doesn't really like to grapple anyway, but also because Sandhagen's so much bigger than Yan on the ground. You'd find it... You'd think it would be quite difficult for Yan to kind of control Sandhagen on the ground with the size difference and with how scrambly Sandhagen is. Donatus is saying might be nothing, might be something. Yes, good point, dude. Mbae is saying Petr Yan out-grappled Aljo. Most of Yan's takedowns is when Aljo gave up his back. That's true, but Petr Yan engaged in grappling with Sterling because Sterling kept forcing him to grapple, right? It wasn't like Yan went looking for the grappling. What's up, Steblord? Good to see you, dude. What's up, what's up? Take the red pill. Yes, mate, gotta take that red pill. He's saying, I'm hoping Sandhagen learned from the Dillashaw fight and be much more disciplined. Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. I do get what you mean. I do think that he could have fought a little bit smarter against Dillashaw. I think he did get sucked into a lot of reckless exchanges. I think he did fuck about a little bit too much on the ground, which cost him a round or two. I definitely get what you're saying, mate. Tom Tomod is saying, don't you think Glover is a good bet? He did well against Jones. He did, mate. The John Jones fight was a long time ago now, and we've got to remember father time catches up with everyone, right? Glover's a lot older now than he was when he fought Jones. If the version of Glover that fought Jones was facing Jan Blachowicz, I would be all over Glover at these odds. Problem at this stage in Glover's career is he's quite stiff, he's quite rigid, he's very slow to react to his opponents. He's quite bad defensively. We know Yan hits pretty hard. So I just think at this stage in Glover's career, with how easy he is to hit, how slow he is, it's going to be very difficult for him to get inside on the takedown without taking big damage from Yan. You know, if Yan can, you know, if you think about it, right, Yan is causing these young hungry bulls like Dominic Reyes and Israel Adesanya problems with his power. If he's causing young hungry bulls like that problems, you know, imagine how much he can cause a 40-year-old Glover problems. I know Yan's old too, but I do think Yan's power makes him very dangerous, someone like Glover. But we'll research that fight tomorrow. We'll get into that. We'll do that fight. We'll research it tomorrow. Rami is saying, I think Sandhagen's the biggest nightmare for Yan in the bantamweight division. Can't think of anyone else apart from maybe Yanez who still has a lot to prove. Yeah, I'm very interested to dive into this one. It's encouraging that before we even start, so many of you guys feel the same as me about this fight. Like straight away going into this, I'm thinking, why is Sandhagen a big favourite? It's just cool to see so many people saying similar things. Rami's saying there's a stat that guys over 40 winning rate is only around 20%. Can't imagine what the stat would be for guys over 40 winning a belt. Yeah, well said, man. Yeah, Rami's basically saying that there's not many 40-year-old fighters competing at the top of any division for a reason. Well said, dude. Alright, let's catch up on some more comments. What have we got? What's up, Moons? What's up, Matum? What's up, Spiz? Spiz looking good. Oh, Yan looking good, sorry. Hey, what's up, Hasbullah? Chris, mate, do you know anything about Abigail Montez? I don't, sorry, dude. I don't. To be honest, mate, I don't really mess about with any MMA promotion outside of the UFC just because liquidity is so low. It's just not really worth the effort, because even if you do make a little bit of money betting small promotions like PFL and Bellator, problem is because such few people bet promotions like that, if you do start to make a little bit of profit, it'll just shine a light on your betting account and it'll just get closed down like much faster. Like it's hard enough keeping accounts open just betting on UFC, let alone smaller promotions. So I don't tend to mess with them, man. Tend to not bother with smaller promotions. In my opinion, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You can't really make any like serious amount of money betting smaller MMA promotions, and when you do, you risk getting your account closed. So yeah, it's not worth it, man. Sorry about that, Hasbullah, dude. Brett is saying we didn't bet Yan at 1.4 against Aldo, so we're not going to do it against Sandhagen. Good point, Brett. What's up, JB? What's up, Sean? Matern saying, all your hard work's paying off, Chris. Won't be long before you're retired sipping Muay Thais on an exotic beach. You know what, Matern? I am starting to feel a little bit like that, man. Little bit. Just a little bit. I'm starting to feel like that. Like a little bit. Like, you know, they say everything happens for a reason, man. I think I've been saying in the VIP chat room for a few months now that the weekly chart on Bitcoin, I've been in crypto for like 5 years, and the weekly chart on Bitcoin is looking the most bullish it has ever looked. Like, I think this next bull run, which is going to be coming real soon on crypto, it's going to be the biggest one ever. You know what I mean? Because crypto's gone mainstream now. In the last bull run, that's when crypto went mainstream, like during the bull run. But now, this next bull run, crypto's already mainstream. Everyone's talking about crypto. Crypto's like a real big part of society now, whereas that only really happened on a mainstream level during the last bull cycle. So it's kind of like I've been like working on so many things for so many years, and like I've been earning a good living working on so many things for so many years. But now at this time, at the same time that I have like my biggest winning run of all time, like literally before long, I would imagine probably within a month I will have made over like 100k in like 3 months. At the same time that happens, crypto's gearing up for its biggest bull run of all time. Like, it seems like a big coincidence, because like I remember a few weeks back I was saying I haven't got any money at the moment to buy crypto because I've poured it all into my betting accounts because we're doing so well with like gambling at the moment. That's kind of like, why would I even want to bother investing in stocks or crypto? It's pointless. We're making too much gambling. Get as much into the betting accounts as possible to maximize those gains. But now I'm kind of like, you know, is this like a message from the fucking gods? Do you know what I mean? Is this literally the universe rewarding us for years and years and years? Fucking, is this a universe rewarding us for a decade of grinding? You know what I'm saying? Is this the time where the universe has gifted me my biggest winning run of all time, and then at the same time crypto's gearing up to go to the moon? Is this the universe telling me, go buy 50 grand's worth of Dogecoin, Chris, and become a gajillionaire? I don't know. I'm just kidding. But it has got me thinking, like, everything happens for a reason, right? It's very much a coincidence how I've been involved in like stocks, crypto and gambling for such a long time, and now both gambling and crypto are both at their peak at exactly the same time. It's like the universe sending me a message or something. So I have to put some money into it. Take some of these profits, put some money into it. You know what I mean? Because you gotta just, what do they say in Star Wars? You just gotta trust the Force, right? That's what Yoda would be telling me to do. Just trust the Force. Feel the Force, young Jedi. That's what he'd be saying. So yeah, maybe on an exotic beach soon, dude. In more than a sandcastle, you know what I mean? Sean saying this card's giving me bad vibes are better. Yeah, it doesn't look like a great card for betting. Looks like a pretty crappy one. It's like 12 heavy favourites out of 15 fights. Not good. Brett saying many of the big favourites don't deserve to be big favourites. That's true, dude. We've already sniped one nice underdog yesterday. Hopefully you find another one on Sandhagen tonight. Stones is saying outside of putting in 0.2 BTC when I meant 0.02 and losing. Been a nice few weeks. Oh, that's brutal, Stones, dude. Was that on a trade? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend is a bad UFC event for betting. Like, everything's got to cool off, do you know what I mean? We can't just keep smashing it every single week. It's got to cool off eventually. So if it cools off this weekend, so be it. Of course, the only sucky thing is all eyeballs are on us this weekend because it's got a lot of high-profile fights that people care about while we've been working in the shadows, doing work on the shitty cards. You know what I mean? On the high-profile fights, maybe it's not so good this weekend. Stones is saying Yan stopped Jacare's takedowns. Do you know what, though? Jacare didn't really fully commit to any takedowns in that fight. I think Jacare was so worried about gassing himself out to try and get the fight to the ground that he never really committed to trying to get in on the legs of Yan. They kind of just battled for position in the clinch. There wasn't a lot of offensive wrestling from Yan in that fight. The Rockhold fight is probably a better indicator because Rockhold did commit hard to the takedown. Taz is saying, I think Cory's odds is what makes everyone excited about him. If they're even odds, I think most would be on Yan. I'm not so sure, man. We'll soon find out. We'll soon find out. Roland Dito saying, hopefully UFC gets big enough where liquidity gets 10x. Yeah, you know what, Roland Dito? I think a big issue with liquidity on UFC is that the fights are broadcast at a really bad time in Europe. And because the UK is one of the biggest, well, I think the UK might be the biggest gambling market in the world, UFC liquidity is never going to really get a big bump from the UK because it's just on at too bad of a time. Parlons, I will not be buying Ethereum or Bitcoin on this bull run, dude. I will not. The thing is, mate, you know, obviously Ethereum and Bitcoin are the lead bulls. They lead the market. But realistically, you know, if you buy, you know, say you bought like 10, 20 grand's worth of Ethereum right now, you know what I'm saying? Can Ethereum double on the next bull run? Like, probably. It's quite likely, right? Will Ethereum double? Probably. But, like, turning 10 grand into 20 grand or 20 grand into 40 grand's not that exciting to me. I'd rather go for, like, the high risk, high reward shit. You know what I mean? And then if it blows up in my face and I end up losing, then that's the way it goes. But, you know, you gotta be in it to win it. You know what I mean? It's all God's plan. Hopefully, Paul, dude. Hope so, dude. Hope so, mate. Roland Dito saying, karma for you doing all the good work throughout the years. Nice one, Roland Dito, mate. Killshock saying, whatever happened with our UFC betting app. You know what's crazy? They have actually launched it. There it is, right? They have actually launched it. And there is, if you go into it, wait, I'll show you guys now. I'm not sure if you have it in your country, but I think it's in all countries because they do, they do advertise it in the Octagon. So, see, I got a little bit of prize money in there. Basically what I did was, you can see I've got a little bit of prize money, little bit. Can you see? 288.35. So yeah, what basically happened is I've been entering. They started off just doing like free pick competitions, and I won one of them. I won like £100 in one of their free pick competitions, and then I've just been using that £100 I won to keep entering all their other contests, like their paid ones, and I've ground it up to £300. But you can see the biggest entry is only a £5 entry, and there's only like $750 the first place, which usually gets chopped up many different ways. So it's not great at the moment. But if you go on to if you go to there where it says pick, see it's got an in play section. If you can see if the camera will focus, see how it says in play. So the app is built, dude. See there's in play by there, but then if you click it, nothing happens. Nothing happens during the event either. So this is the app they were talking about back in 2019. It just doesn't work yet. But I'm waiting. I'm keeping an eye on it, man. Yeah, that's right, Spiz, dude. Haswell is saying, considering the amazing run you've been on, it doesn't seem like any live betting spaces will be opening up anytime soon. Congrats, mate, you deserve it. So while I am only able to be on your pre-match subscription for the foreseeable future, what would the best plan of action be for me? Should I just bet loose, tight bets and even money? Should I bet everything? What would you recommend? Hey, Hasbulla, dude, let me tell you something, Hasbulla. Right? Let me tell you something, dude. You never ever see live betting memberships restocked on the website, right? It never happens. They never get restocked. They're like permanently sold out, right? You never see, they never go on sale anymore. Like I never put live betting memberships up for sale, but that's because, dude, right? I will be honest with you, mate. Live betting UFC is a gold mine, and I just like to hook up cool people. So people don't leave the live betting group very often, but when they do, I don't put their space back up for sale. I kind of hold it back, right? I never put their space back up for sale. So that when cool people in the community come to me and they're like, oh, I'd really like to join live betting. Can you let me know if ever a space comes up, bro? I've got a space. I've always got one ready. Just for someone, you know what I mean, that's really cool. So Hasbulla, dude, you're literally here every day in the live streams, mate. You always positive guy, always got positive stuff to say. You're a good dude, mate. Just DM me, we'll get you in the live betting group straight away, man. Don't sweat it. They never go on sale. They never go on general sale, but I like to just hold some back. So when cool people like you, dude, want to come in, I've always got a space there. So yeah, Hasbulla, mate, just send me a DM whenever you're ready, dude. No pressure. Like, if you don't want to join, if you just said that, but you're not too sure if you want to join or not, no pressure, dude. Don't worry. But if you do ever want to join, just let me know, man. And always got a space for people like you, dude. Very, very positive, cool guy. And you're in the streams every day, mate. And that's exactly the type of person I like in the live betting group. Thanks a lot, Hasbulla, dude. So yeah, that's why you never see the live betting memberships go on sale. When people leave, I just hold them back. And then when you get guys that, you know, when you get guys come in all every day on the live streams and stuff, those are the guys I like to give the memberships to, you know. So nice one, Hasbulla, dude. But no pressure if you don't want to join, mate. I want like a sales pitch or anything. But if you do want to join, mate, I got a space for you, no problem, man. Parlons is saying, okay, but if I got a couple hundreds to put in crypto right now, I'm not sure if I should go with more on Dogecoin or put on ETH, since I already added 300 more on Dogecoin this week. Yeah, I can't tell you what to do, dude. All I would say is just like, what are your aims, right? So like for me, don't want to sound like a dick, but say I go buy $20,000 worth of Ethereum and then that turns into $40,000. Like, an extra $20,000 is nice, but it's not going to change my life in any way at all. Like, if you just handed me 20 grand now, I'd be like, thank you very much, that's amazing. But it literally doesn't change my life at all. You know, literally nothing would change. There's nothing I really want to buy. I would probably just invest it. Like, I'd probably just go buy more stocks or more crypto. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need 20 grand for anything. That's not going to change my life. So I think it all depends on like what stage of your life you're in. If you're happy with doubling your money, then I would say do that. Go for the safe route. But for me, I'm thinking, right, like, what can I do to like change my life in a big way now? Do you know what I mean? So instead of me going to try and like double my money, I'm thinking, right, how do I like 50x, 100x my money? And it is a gamble, 100% it's going to be a gamble, right? Because the bigger the reward, usually the more risk you're taking on. But that's just like a risk I'm willing to take, because in the same way that if I were to be given 20 grand, it wouldn't really affect my life at all. If I were to lose 20 grand, it wouldn't really affect my life at all either. So that's like my logic, but everyone's at different stages in life. And I can afford to take that gamble because of the way gambling's going, right? So say, for example, I did lose, say I went and spent like 20 grand on, I don't know, I've been looking at stuff like Avalanche, right? So I bought like 20 grand's worth of Avalanche because I think it could turn into a 50x, which would bring back millions of dollars. Say Avalanche completely tanked and I lost like half my money. Say I lost 10 grand, say I lost 15 grand, say I lost 20 grand. I can get it back next month gambling, or I can get it back the month after. I might not get 20 grand back in a month, but I'll probably get 5 or 6, maybe get 10 or 11. You know, it won't take me that long to get a 20 grand back. But if you've got like money that you can't afford to lose, it's exactly like with gambling. Never play with money you can't afford to lose. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm happy to take a calculated gamble, because if I lose, it's not the end of the world. But if you need that money, dude, you're better off going for the safe options. Do you know what I mean? Or not invest at all is the smarter thing to do. Maternity saying, I think our betting accounts are a better investment than any crypto. Yeah, I do agree, man. Definitely, mate. Or if you have tons of cash like Chris, it's smart to put something into crypto to diversify. Yeah, usually I wouldn't bother with crypto, because I would just want as much money in the betting accounts as possible to keep that compounded growth going. But when the crypto charts look as bullish as they do right now, like on bull runs, like I think we're going to see a lot of small cap altcoins, they do run 50x, 100x. On a lot of, on a lot of mid caps, they do pull 10x, 5x, 10x, 20x. So the way I'm looking at it is, like, it would take a long time. Like, it would take a really, like, the 20x your money, it takes a long time. Do you know what I mean? Gambling 50, 100x could take a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? So if you can get those gains in crypto in like a short period of time, like, why not have a little go in it? You know what I mean? Why not try it out? See if it works. And if it goes up in flames, the way I look at it is it's just another bet. It's just another bet that lost, you know. What's up, HLB? What's up, Taz? What's up, Stones? What's up, what's up? What's up? We do actually have some initiation requirements. It's just basically don't be a bastard. You know what I mean? Don't be a bastard. Don't be a bastard. You know? No, HLB, I don't think he's late on Dogecoin at all, dude. I think he's very early on Dogecoin, because if you look at it, we bring the Dogecoin chart up. If we bring Dogecoin up, where are we? Where is it? Dogecoin USDT. If we bring that up, and we're on the weekly at the moment. If we switch to daily, so this is the USDT chart, right? Previous all-time high is here. So as we know, on every bull run that follows the previous bull run, you usually break the previous all-time high, right? That's generally the way things work if assets are still alive and kicking. So right now, Dogecoin is at about 26 cents. Even if it were to just tickle the previous all-time high, that would be a 3x from where it's currently at. Wait a minute, it went higher than that. It went higher than that. It went up to 70 something, right? Why is that price not coming up properly? Yeah, it got up to 70 cents, which would be like a 3x. And it's looking crazy bullish. So I wouldn't say he's late, man. I wouldn't say he's late. It's all probably going to be UFC focused this week, Shocks. Yeah, probably all going to be UFC. Just there's so many good fights coming up, man. Just gotta focus on getting through this UFC fight research. Know what I mean? Gotta get it done. Let's catch up. Let's catch up. Comments are getting busy. Try and whiz through them as fast as I can. Just gonna pick out any questions. All right, yeah. Yep. Cool. Anything else? Just whiz through the comments. What's up, Nick Rodriguez? Nick, man, it's like is the old look. I'm not an expert, boys. I would just say do your own research on crypto. Do you know what I mean? Do your own research. What I will say about crypto, just to give you guys like maybe like a little what I would say about crypto, just to kind of give you a clue as to what the research. Like every crypto bull run tends to work out in the same way. So, every crypto bull run tends to go the same way. Starts with big caps running, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. And then it goes to mid caps running, things like Link, Ripple, Link, Ripple, Cardano. Like the mid caps will run next. And then after that, the small caps will run. Wherever the super hyped, popular small caps that are going to run. I gotta be honest, man. If there's one thing that I would say, like, this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but if there's one thing that I think is definitely worth looking at in the near future, it is, for me personally, this is what I'm taking very seriously at the moment. I think gaming NFTs are gonna be like, I think gaming NFTs will be the biggest. Like, I think gaming NFTs will be the most lucrative investment in the history of the earth. Genuinely, because I feel there's so many obvious signs that gaming NFTs will be the biggest home run in the history of the financial fucking system's existence. Because if you think about it, there are clues all around us, right? If you go back to like the 1990s, where people would literally sell actual houses and actual plots of land for real money on eBay for World of Warcraft or Ultima Online, right? If you look at movies like Ready Player One, where, you know, your online identity is made up of, like, you know, items that you get in that game that, you know, carry extreme value in the real world. You see how, you know, wealth and the value of stuff in the virtual world also carries over into the real world. And you look at it in games at the moment. You look at like Fortnite, you look at like Madden, you look at like FIFA Ultimate Team, you look at Call of Duty with the sale of like skins or, you know, new weapons or new cars, right? The clues are all around us. So I think I think at the moment, I think NFTs are like really primitive and a little bit worthless. Like spending tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on basically JPEGs, I just think that is a very fragile market. But with gaming NFTs, you know, if you can buy like a super rare one of one gun skin for Call of Duty that you're going to be able to use for the next 100 years on every Call of Duty game that comes out annually, and there's a marketplace where you can buy and sell, you know, Call of Duty weapon skins, or, you know, Fortnite character sets, or, you know, Halo helmets, you know, for Halo games. Like, that's the fucking moonshot for me, man. So that's that's like what I'm looking into at the moment. There's a lot of like crypto gaming NFT projects, and I think obviously it's really early days because none of the big developers are taking on these projects. It's all indie projects. But then giant games like Minecraft, they were indie projects as well. Can you imagine if a developer if an indie developer develops a game now like Roblox or like Minecraft, which did come from, you know, an indie background, something like Stardew Valley, these indie games that blow up to become wildly popular. Can you imagine the value of gaming NFTs on an indie game that may blow up to the level of Minecraft? Come on, man, that's crazy. Talking crazy. What's up, HLB? Yeah, I know, man. It's just tough for me. Sorry, HLB. It's tough for me to get time to do the YouTube videos, man. As much as I would love to do the YouTube videos, it's just tough, mate. YouTube videos, they do come with a lot of stress. And they do come with a lot of problems. And at the moment, like, it's very tough for me because, like, we're making so much money betting on football at the moment. It's really hard. Like, the true cost, like, say for example I want to take an evening off to record a YouTube video instead of live betting football. The true cost of that is, it could be like $5,000 to $10,000. Do you know what I mean? The opportunity cost of me putting that YouTube video out might actually cost me $5,000 to $10,000, because if I live bet football, I know I can make $5,000 to $10,000 profit in a night. If I don't live bet football and produce a YouTube video instead, that's money I'm kind of losing. So it's very difficult at the moment to justify the breakdown videos, which is a shame. But I do feel bad not doing them, mate. But I will try and get back to it, man, when football cools down a little bit. But it's tough, man. It's tough. Very tough, man. Very tough. Alright, let's get into it, boys. Let's get into some footage. Let's go. Yeah, I'm just going to get into the footage, man. We've got a lot of... See, this is exactly why I don't do YouTube videos. Literally, HLB commas like, "Oh, Chris, miss you on YouTube." I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm really sorry. I would love to put out YouTube videos and stuff, but YouTube videos just bring loads of stress. And literally haven't put a YouTube video out for weeks. And then first comment I see when I go back to YouTube Tom the Heist calling me a snake oil salesman. It's like, mate, literally. I don't think you realise this, but I could literally disappear tomorrow. You would never hear from me again. My website would disappear. I would never put out another YouTube video. You'd never see me tweet ever again, Tom the Heist, and I would be just fine, my friend. So think what you want, man. But yeah, that's the difficulty with YouTube. When I put content out on the internet, I have to deal with cockroaches like Tom the Heist, and I just don't need it in my life. Do you know what I mean? I don't need the stress. I don't need the abuse. You know, I don't need the... I just don't need the drama. Do you know what I mean? I'm far happier staying in my bubble, staying in my shadows, because the internet is a wild place, man. There's a lot of people out there that like to try and drag you down. So, you know, if you don't need that in your life, why put yourself in that position? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, with that, let's get into the fight research. Let's go. So the first fight that we will get into, I'm trying to work out what the best one to do will be. So I am looking forward to taking a look at the Dillashaw fight in the cold light of day, because watching the fight live, I felt Sandhagen won like 4 rounds to 1 pretty clear. So it will be good to watch it back in the cold light of day to kind of see if I feel different about it watching the fight live. Because there were, like, even though the majority of people did score the fight for Sandhagen, there was, you know, a reasonably good number of people that did score it for Dillashaw as well. So it will be interesting to watch this back and see if the judges did get it right or not. But where should we start? I reckon we should start with... Yeah, there's more recent footage available on Yan. So let's start off with watching Yan first, and then we can kind of sandwich the Dillashaw fight in the middle. So we've looked at the odds, implied probabilities. Yan's got an implied probability of 70%. Sandhagen 30%, which is crazy to me. In terms of X factors, who was it that let us know? Donatus is saying that Sandhagen's got a pretty nasty black eye on embedded. So that's one X factor. The size difference is the obvious other one. Sandhagen, 29 years old, 5'11" with a 70-inch reach. And Petr Yan is 28 years old, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. So a pretty big size advantage there for Sandhagen. Both guys about the same age. Only a 3-inch reach advantage for Sandhagen, but obviously a big difference in height, which means Yan's going to have to cover a lot more distance to actually get to Sandhagen and land. What I would also say about Sandhagen is usually got, you know, let's be real, 5'11" for a bantamweight, it is abnormally long and tall. So when you see guys with this body type, usually they're either like very slow and sluggish because they're abnormally big for the division, or they're kind of a little bit weak, maybe easy to take down because they've got, like, you know, really skinny legs, which helps them be that much taller. But Sandhagen's one of these guys, a little bit like Dan Hooker actually, just quite muscular, quite filled out. Somehow he's able to make 135. The weight cut doesn't actually seem to be that difficult for him either. And he's quite muscular, quite strong. He's got great balance, great athleticism. So that size advantage is huge for Sandhagen here, because he's got all the benefits of being a lot bigger than his opponent, and he hasn't really got any of the downsides. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool, man. So yeah, Sandhagen, bit of a beast. Alright. Okay. Alright. Alright, boys. Alright. 2 seconds, boys. 2 seconds. Alright, let's get rid of that guy. I don't like the ban people, but if you keep pushing, you gotta go. Alright, he's just... that person's just going to disrupt the stream, so he's gotta go. Alright, hopefully we can just concentrate on the face punching now and the money making. Let's go. So, let's get into it, boys. So, the first fight we'll check out is going to be... let's do Yan versus Sterling. Then we can kind of watch Dillashaw Sandhagen in the middle. And then we can do Aldo versus Yan after that. So let's get into it. Let's go. So what I'll do, the way this is going to work is I will drop the links to these fights into all the live chats for you, and then after that we can all sync the rounds up, watch them together, and then we can share how we feel about this fight. Let's go, let's go. Alright, where are we? Let's get it going. So sync up the first round of this fight for me, guys. We got the UFC Fight Pass link, we got the ESPN Plus link. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. Sync it up, guys. Let me grab this ESPN Plus link. It's pretty crazy, right? What's up, Gucci, mate? Hope you're doing good, man. What's up, what's up? What's up, dude? Hope you're doing good. What's up? Alright, let's go. So on Fight Pass, this starts at 2 minutes 40. Let's get the countdown clock up. So let's sync it all up, guys. Hey, what's up, Sean? Good to see you, dude. Alright, let's get it going. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. Sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's see what we got. So I am very interested to see how Yan's going to be able to deal with the length of Sandhagen, because obviously Sandhagen's going to be able to chip away at him with his range finding kicks from a range where Yan can't really counter unless he covers a lot of distance. And we're seeing Sterling use that tactic like really early on. Obviously the difference is Sterling slows down a lot as the fight progresses, whereas Sandhagen can keep up like a way higher pace for longer. I will say this as well. I think like with how good Sandhagen is, how high everyone rates him, it's easy to kind of judge him as being like a UFC champion caliber guy before his time. By that what I mean is, you know, Sandhagen doesn't have tons of experience going the distance. If you look at it, Sandhagen's got like loads of early finishes. He's only been to a decision like 3 times in the UFC. But before the Dillashaw fight, he'd only been to a decision twice, and he'd never fought 5 rounds before. So where like where Sandhagen did make a lot of mistakes against Dillashaw for sure, like that could have been him just like trying to figure out how to pace himself over 5 rounds, you know. And maybe now against Petr Yan, now he knows what it feels like to go 5 rounds. He's going to perform a lot better, because he's basically was learning on the job in that title fight against Dillashaw, right? Didn't really know how to pace himself. All he can do is kind of emulate it in the gym. Whereas now he knows what it feels like to go 5 rounds. We've seen Petr Yan walk into a couple, or not walking into, he was backing up. But we've seen Sterling catch Petr Yan with a couple flying knees. Now we know that's one of Sandhagen's favourite techniques. We also know that Petr Yan likes to start slow though. Less guys. Takes a little bit of time. Just find his range, feel his opponents out. And that's what we're kind of seeing here, with Sterling coming forward being the aggressor and Petr Yan just staying on the outside behind that high boxing guard. And waiting for his opportunity to kind of wear Sterling down a little bit so he can start to take control. Now this is what's interesting to me, right? You see Petr Yan land the beautifully timed right hand there on Sterling to drop him. But the thing is, Sterling's about the same size as Yan, so they both stood in front of each other. what's interesting about Yan is you can see he wants to fight in close proximity, right? He's trying to come forward behind that high boxing guard where he can get his boxing going. But the thing is, Sandhagen doesn't fight in that range. He fights much longer, much taller. Like, Sterling's kind of forced to stand right in front of Yan here, or else he's got to back up, circle away, and burn through a lot of energy using footwork. Or he's got to stand in front of him, right? He can only really be in a situation where he's working for takedowns, he's circling away, burning through energy, or stood right in front of Yan, whereas Sandhagen, we know he can bounce around for 25 minutes, no problem. Of course, he will slow a bit, but because of his size and his length, you still got to cover a lot of distance to get to him, you know? Night boss, you going to bed? Alright, night boss. Of course, when you do see Petr Yan get to a body lock and kind of ragdoll Sterling to the ground in round 1, when Sterling's at his freshest, right, he's going to be at the toughest to control. You would think that if Yan did come into the fight against Sandhagen with a grappling heavy game plan, he could cause him big trouble. But he probably won't, man. Yan seems like one of these guys that wants to stand and bang. Alright, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's sync up round 2 now, guys. Sync up round 2. Sync it up, guys. Nice one, Sci-Fix. Thanks a lot, Sci-Fix, dude. Appreciate it, Sci-Fix, man. Thanks a lot, dude. Thanks, mate. Alright, let's get it going. Sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Stephen Hartley's already bet on Sandhagen 3.0 plus 200. Joey McBride, man, I gotta get back to you, Joey, dude. I've gotta get back to you, Joey, mate. Joey, I'm gonna get on that this week, dude, for sure. I promise you, Joey, mate. I promise you, mate. Head's been in the shed, mate. I promise you, Joey. I'll get back to you this week, mate. I'll get back to you, alright, dude? Nice one, Joey, mate. So obviously by this stage in the fight, Sterling's become really tired. You can see that because he's reluctant to stand back up here. He's taking a little bit of break. Petr Yan's giving him all the space he needs to get back up. Instead of Sterling scrambling back up to his feet, he's kind of inviting Yan to go into guard. See, this range is interesting to me, where Sterling's kind of coming forward, taking control of the centre of the octagon, and he's putting Yan on the back foot quite easily and just chipping away at him with these long kicks. Now, what's interesting to me about that is how much Yan shells up when he does that, and how easy it is to put Yan on the back foot and rack up volume. But then on the flip side, you got to ask yourself the question, is Yan that easy to put on the back foot because he's worried about being taken down? Would he be that easy to put into a defensive shell against someone like Sandhagen that he knows is probably not going to be trying to take him down? Because the reason why Yan's probably backing up, fighting on the outside, and allowing Aljamain to control the centre of the octagon is so that when Sterling does shoot in on the takedown, Yan's not got to travel back very far to get his back tight to the cage, to start using the cage as a base to defend the takedown, which is what we know he'll want to do, which is what he's doing here. Because obviously, like there, Sterling drags him down, but he uses the cage to stand back up. If Sterling takes him down in that position in the middle of the octagon where he hasn't got the cage or he can use the wall work, it becomes a lot more difficult to stand up from there, you know. So far though, like, I know we haven't watched any footage on Sandhagen yet, but I do think the odds are a little bit strange here. Like, even when you just see kind of Yan walking forward behind that high boxing guard in kickboxing range against Sterling, like, he's very good, but in order for him to be this big of a favourite, you'd expect to see a big skill gap. That's not what I'm seeing at the moment, you know. JB saying, given that Yan is low volume early in the fight, he'll have to fight off the back foot a bit because he has to stay on the outside of Sandman's range. Yeah, it will be interesting to see if he does start slow in this fight. 'Cause he started slow against Aldo as well, right? It was a real slow start against Aldo. You just see brilliant balance here from Yan. Sterling trying so hard to upset his balance and just having no luck. See, this is where I do see Yan potentially struggling, where he's coming forward in that boxing style behind that high guard. Like, you're seeing Sterling kind of chip away at him with his range-finding kicks. We know that's what Sandhagen does his best, right? You know Sandhagen's at his best when he does that. You know, I will say this about Yan as well. I do wonder whether Yan has perhaps got bad fight IQ. Because obviously we know that he lost this fight under weird circumstances. And we know there have been a lot of situations in his past fights where he's taken a lot of time off. In fights, he's taken entire rounds off. Kind of relies on his ability to get a finish. And you can't really afford to take rounds off against guys as high level as Sandhagen. It can cost you bad. Well, Sandhagen found out the hard way against Dillashaw, right? Yeah, this is what I mean, Matern. And if those openings don't come, you do put yourself at big risk of losing a decision, you know? Alright, let's get this next one going. Sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is round 3. Gucci loves Sandhagen here. Thing is, when Petr Yan does go, he is devastating, but so Sandhagen. I do think we're likely to see a much better version of Sandhagen though this weekend. Like I say, he doesn't have much experience going the distance, doesn't have any experience of competing for 5 rounds. Now that he's got 5 rounds under his belt against Dillashaw, he could look a lot better. That's a good point, Michael, dude. Michael Knight is saying hopefully Sandhagen chills out with the flying shit and the spinning shit. You are right, dude. I think Sandhagen could do pretty good here if he just chips away at Yan from distance. But yeah, you're right, man. The spinning stuff does get him into a lot of trouble. Brett is saying should be mostly a stand-up fight, and I don't think Sandhagen should be a 3.0 underdog against anyone in primarily a stand-up fight. Sandhagen go 5 rounds with TJ and do it with Yan and outpoint him. Thing is, with this fight, it is kind of tough to gauge Yan's striking because obviously he's very preoccupied by the threat of the takedown. It's hard for Yan to kind of open up and let his hands go here because Sterling keeps disrupting his rhythm with these takedown attempts. So you've got to wonder how much better Yan might look against someone like Sandhagen that won't try to take him down. But then you also have to worry if kind of like the inactivity from Yan, like taking minutes off in fights, taking rounds off in fights, is going to cost him against someone like Sandhagen. And by this point, Yan's just taking the piss. With the leg sweeps. Take care, Parlons, mate. Oh, is there an NFL game tonight? No way. No way, man. Didn't realise there was NFL tonight. Had no idea, man. Completely forgot. Did Getafe go 3-0 down after the red card? No, they were 2-0 down before. Alright, what about... What football game is there later? Seahawks Saints. This should be a pretty good game, right? Oh, is Russell Wilson still injured? He injured his hand. Is he still injured for tonight's game? If it is, Saints are going to be a good bet, right? Is Russell Wilson still injured? So he's got a pin in his finger. Alright. Take the red pill, saying I don't think Faber threatened any takedowns and Yan still gave away a round or two early in that one, if I recall. Yeah, he did the same against Jimmy Rivera as well, right? Jimmy Rivera was out striking Yan and then Yan kept landing bombs and knocking him down right at the end of the round to steal the round. Yeah, that's right, Donatus, mate. That's right, dude. Saying I want Sandhagen to win because of the Yan DQ. Wow, yeah, though, yo, actually, I think I need to go bet that right now. The odds won't get worse, will they? Will the odds get worse? What are the odds at the moment? Will the odds get worse on the Seahawks? Do I need to take that pre-game? 1.45. Saints are at home as well, right? Saints are at home. So do I need... Oh, no, it's at the Seahawks. But the quarterback replacement has been struggling a little bit, hasn't he? I watched the Steelers game and he kind of choked late on, and he didn't do too good late on against the Rams either. So Wilson's out. I need to take a look at that later on. Alright, let's get this fourth round going. So round 4 starts at 21 minutes 16 seconds on Fight Pass. That's 21 minutes 16 seconds. 21 minutes 16 seconds. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. Yes, tough without Russell Wilson, right? Nice one, JB. JB, what do you think about betting the Saints before the game, mate? What do you think? Is it risky or is it worth a shot? I just remember watching the Steelers game and the quarterback did choke late on, and it happened in the game Wilson got injured in as well. Like when he first came into the game, he was doing well and then just started to perform badly by the end of the game. Let me know, JB, mate. See, the odds are like 1.44 minus 227. Saints seem like too good to be true if Wilson's out. Yeah, the crowd get crazy, right, JB? Maybe it's just better to kind of wait until maybe Seahawks have a moment in the game and the odds improve on him. Odds improve on Seahawks, then try and get the Saints at better odds live. But then if Saints score early... Alright, nice one, JB. Nice one, dude. Yeah, you know what, boys? I don't ever bet the minus point spread bets. I have like a real... I just don't do well on them, man. I only ever do plus money point spread bets or money line. I don't perform well on the minus money spread bets. Like in this range is where I can see Yan struggling really bad against Sandhagen. Like, and this is where Yan likes to fight. When Yan comes forward and pressures, he's devastating. But a decent chunk of his fights do take place in that range where he's just stood right in front of his opponents. In that range, I think Sandhagen has massive success, as he can use his size and his diverse range of attacks to just chip away at Yan. And you know Yan's not going anywhere. He's not going to try and back up or circle away from you. He just stands there and kind of takes it from behind that high boxing guard. But this is when he's at his best, when he's coming forward, pressuring, forcing you to fight in an uncomfortable range. But then here, this range where before Sterling gave his backup, I was going to say that range there is where Sterling's going to be very, very vulnerable. Yan's going to be very, very vulnerable to giving up major volume to Sandhagen. So Bopham coach and Hamilka is saying that it can be tricky to go to Seattle. And Momo's saying the Saints are really bad as well. Saying the weather's bad in Seattle. Oh, nice one, Hasbulla, mate. Here's the infamous finish. Jesus, it was quite a hard knee, to be fair. Watching it back there was a very hard knee. All right, let's go take a look at Sandhagen versus Dillashaw now. Let's get into that one, guys, and then we can start to visualize how both these guys might match up standing. Let's take a look. So I'll grab you guys the link. So here's the Fight Pass link. Here we go. So sync this one up for me. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So Tate the Red Pill is saying there's supposed to be a lot of rain in tonight's game as well. Hey, what's that, Monkey Business? Yeah, that game last night, I watched the game last night. It was crazy with the rain. How much more difficult it was for the players to catch the ball. How much more difficult it was for the quarterbacks to throw. It was a very scrappy game until that fourth quarter. Alright, there we go. There we go, guys. So sync up the first round of this one for me. So this is Dillashaw versus Sandhagen. And it'll be interesting to score this fight round by round as well, to see if the judges did get it right or not. So sync this one up for me. Sync it up. This starts at 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Oh, Jesus. That's crazy, Hasbulla, mate. A lot of their games end up being tight, right? Alright, let's get into Dillashaw Sandhagen. Sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, guys. Let's go. So already you can see Sandhagen moving a lot better than Sterling. It'll be interesting to see if Sandhagen can still move like this deep into the fight, because we know how much pressure Yan puts on his opponents at times. When he comes forward and pressures guys, very difficult to back him up. And he hits very, very, very hard when he comes forward and lets his hands go. But you can already see Sandhagen very elusive, very unorthodox. Like little sequences like that, right? Like the flying knee. Like we've seen, we have seen Petr Yan caught by a couple of flying knees like that early from Sterling. But the difference is, if Sandhagen lands a flying knee like that, he can put you away. And I've heard Sandhagen talk about this fight in interviews since, and he said that he acknowledges that he made a big mistake in this moment. Instead of just scrambling back up to his feet quickly, he spent too long rolling for legs, which enabled Dillashaw to rack up some control time. But Dillashaw didn't really achieve anything in that position. And he only shot in the first place because of the flying knee. So remember, guys, we got to score this round by round now to see if the judges got it right. So far, based on the flying knee, based on the stiff jab that Sandhagen landed just before he landed the flying knee, I've got Sandhagen winning this round. Like, Dillashaw's not doing anything with this position. He's not really doing any damage. Sandhagen's kind of just hesitating here, letting him have this position. He digs the underhook on the left side, slowly turns into TJ. Very nice job there from Sandhagen, and gets his back off the cage. Yeah, TJ didn't really achieve much with that position. And there's the there's one of the spinning attacks that Michael Knight was talking about. And you are right, Michael, man. There's just no need for him, especially against an accurate counter puncher like Yan. Nice combination there from Dillashaw as Sandhagen's backing up. A lot more volume on the feet from Sandhagen though. And the thing is, when Dillashaw lands, Sandhagen's usually backing up or moving away from the shot, whereas when Sandhagen lands, it tends to be clean and hard. Obviously, it is also a little bit of a concern that Sandhagen fights with his hands low, because with Yan being such a good boxer, having so much power in his hands. You know, it only takes one shot to change a fight, right? One shot to knock you out, and Sandhagen's definitely there to be hit. He does rely on his ability to read his opponents a lot. So again, Sandhagen making some mistakes here. Just kind of hesitated again in that position where Dillashaw had the body lock against the cage, didn't really show any urgency to work out of it. And again here, he seems more focused on rolling for legs than he does trying to use this space to scramble back up to his feet. Like, he's more focused on trying to throw his legs up for a triangle and roll for a leg than getting back up. And I have heard Sandhagen talk about how much he regrets making mistakes like this. But I think he did also injure Dillashaw's leg in this position. I think Dillashaw had to have surgery, or at least his leg in a cast for a while after this position. Like, Sandhagen definitely injured Dillashaw's knee here. Might have been there where Sandhagen really cranked it as Dillashaw was landing ground and pound. Alright, so let's sync up round 2. So if I'm scoring that round, I give round 1 to Sandhagen. I'll explain why now. Sync up round 2 for me. It starts at 9 minutes 7 seconds. So let me know, guys, in the live chat who you scored that round for. I personally scored that round for Sandhagen based on the fact that when both guys were stood up in kickboxing range, Sandhagen landed more volume and he landed the cleaner, harder shots. Dillashaw had his moments, but I think Sandhagen outstruck him by a decent margin on the feet. And then in the clinch and on the ground, even though Dillashaw was the guy on top, Dillashaw was the guy controlling the position, he wasn't really doing any damage, and at no point did he really establish a dominant position. It was Sandhagen, the guy that was attacking. It was Sandhagen throwing shots off his back. It was Sandhagen fishing for submissions. So for round 1, I go Sandhagen there. I can see why people would go for Dillashaw because he finished the round stronger, but I just think in terms of attack, in terms of damage, in terms of offense, which is what we're supposed to be scoring these fights on, or scoring these rounds on, I think you gotta go Sandhagen round 1. So Matern, Matthew and Sean have all got round 1 for Sandhagen. See if anyone's got it for Dillashaw. Quirt's putting 10k on Makhachev Chimaev parlay sounds good, dude. Do you know what I would say, mate? I don't like parlays, but if ever there were two fighters I would parlay together, it would be Makhachev and Chimaev, man. Two absolute monsters. Good luck, Quirt, mate. Ashley saying I can't trust Sandhagen after showing zero urgency when putting a body lock against the fence by TJ. Yeah, it's definitely a red flag, dude. Also, I can't trust him to stay at range. He will be punished if he keeps going for flying knees and spinning attacks against Yang. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, man. All I would say is whenever you've got a guy that is a big underdog like Sandhagen, you are going to have to take on a good amount of risk. Do you know what I mean? If there weren't big risk factors with Sandhagen, he wouldn't be such a big underdog, you know? So that's the way you got to look at it. Mogwonk Zerg. What's up? What's up, Zerg? Zerg is scoring that for Sandhagen. Take the red pill is saying, so after a second viewing, Sandhagen still won. Yeah, like I say, I'm looking forward to scoring this fight in the cold light of day, seeing if judges got it right or not. And yeah, Makhachev and Chimaev's odds have been getting destroyed, right? Alright. So, Michael Knight saying I had it 4-1 Sandhagen, 2 rounds for TJ is okay but generous, 3 is just nonsense. Yeah, I am really looking forward to seeing what's up with the official scorecard scoring it for Dillashaw when we watch this back now. So let's see how round 2 goes. So let's start off. It starts at 9 minutes 9 seconds on Fight Pass. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So we know that Sandhagen injured Dillashaw's knee quite bad in that round. Dillashaw's spoken about it. He had his leg in cast for a while. I think he did have to have surgery. Definitely had his leg in a cast. I remember he was on Brendan Schaub's Fight Companion podcast and he had his knee in a brace. So let's see how Dillashaw performs in this second round. After just suffering a nasty knee injury, you wouldn't expect Dillashaw to perform that well in round 2. I think Dillashaw also said to his corner when he went back to his round that his knee was messed up. Because I think we were thinking about adding money to Sandhagen at that point live, but couldn't do it because the odds got completely destroyed on Sandhagen as soon as Dillashaw told his corner that his knee was messed up. So seems like most people got round 1 Sandhagen. See, that's where Sandhagen may be able to cause Yan big problems. As Dillashaw blitzes forward, Sandhagen backs up, and yes, Dillashaw does land a couple shots, but Sandhagen's moving away from him, which means they don't land with full impact. Then you see Sandhagen change levels, spring forward, and land a clean right hand on TJ. When you see Petr Yan come forward, and Dan Hardy brought this point up in his breakdown video. Dan did like a 40-minute long breakdown video on this fight, and he said the problem with Petr Yan's style is there is a traditional boxing style which works well in boxing. So when you stay behind the high boxing guard, those big boxing gloves create a shield, right? Where you can do that, and if your opponents attack you, try and land headshots, they all land on the hands and gloves. Whereas in MMA, for a sniper like Sandhagen, it's a lot easier to find holes in your guard and split your defense. And where you see a guy like Sandhagen that can cover distance so quickly and land with such accuracy, like you see it there. Look at that combination, just stinging Dillashaw with that left hand. Like, Dillashaw wasn't that badly hurt there, but you know what they say, the shots that knock you out are the ones you don't see coming. And you can see with the way that Sandhagen switches stances and throws such a diverse range of attacks, very difficult to read him. Again, walks onto a big right hand there. And so, you know, with Petr Yan, he's used to being able to just walk forward and break people with pressure behind that high boxing guard. But maybe a guy like Sandhagen can find openings that guys in the past haven't been able to find. You know what I mean? Because of how much of a sniper he is. And again, because of how comfortable Sandhagen is at being pressured. We know Sandhagen can stay light on his feet, bounce around the octagon for 25 minutes. Whereas a lot of guys don't like to be pressured, right? They would cave under the kind of pressure that Petr Yan's going to put on him. I think Zhang, Gaethje, Osborne, Green are all really good bets for next week. This card's a little dusty. Yeah, well said, Michael Knight, dude. Well said, dude. I'm not sure about Zhang, and I'm not sure about Osborne or Green, but I definitely agree with you at Gaethje, mate. And yeah, this card could be pretty tough with so many big favourites. I think we counted earlier on 12 heavy favourites out of 15 fights. I was saying earlier on in the VIP chat room that we pre-bet Sandhagen and Petr Yan. So we had bets on Sandhagen and Petr Yan in these two fights that we've watched. How the fuck did we go 0-2 on those bets, boys? Like, literally, we lost on Sandhagen and Yan, and now they're both fighting for the title. Like, literally, we couldn't be any more unlucky. I don't know how we're 0-2 on those two bets. And what's even crazier is we bet Sandhagen and we bet Yan at even money odds. I'm sure Yan was like a 1.80 minus 125 slight favourite, and I think Dillashaw was like, no, I think Sandhagen against Dillashaw was like 1.70 minus 140. It's crazy, man. It is fucking crazy. How the fuck we went 0-2 on those bets, I'll never know. And obviously, like, I don't think there's going to be any debate on this round. This is a big round for Dillashaw. Dillashaw's won this round clear. So, in order for... I think... Wasn't he like 1.70 and then he declined down to 1.50? Maybe I'm getting mixed up, man. What's up, Roberts, dude? Good to see you, man. What's up, mate? What's up, dude? But yeah, obviously I don't think there'll be any debate on how to score this round. This is a clear Sandhagen round. So Take the Red Pills just letting us know that Dillashaw definitely had knee surgery after this Dillashaw fight, after this Sandhagen fight. Thanks a lot, dude, for letting us know. I went to watch the new James Bond movie yesterday, and they got that trailer rolling for the new Matrix film, man. Looks pretty good. Take the Red Pill reminded me of the Matrix, coming out at Christmas time. Can't fucking wait. I think it's like 20th of December or something in the UK. Alright, boys, let's get this third round going. So round 3 starts at 15 minutes 49. 15 minutes 49. So that was a clear round for Sandhagen. 15 minutes 49. So I've got Sandhagen up 2 rounds here. Bootleg is saying real bad luck considering TJ was on 1 leg for 4 rounds. Pep's got it 1 round apiece. He gave round 1 to Dillashaw. I think most people have got Sandhagen up 2 rounds here, judging by the comments. MC Kanye is saying, how did Dillashaw win from this point? It's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts, right? I feel like most people watching this right now have got Sandhagen up 2 rounds. So if Sandhagen really does go on to lose the next 3 rounds here, that's going to be nuts. We'll keep a close eye on it. The fight must get real close from here on out. So Bootleg is saying, I bet Sandhagen after round 1 watching TJ limp back thinking it was a lock. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he told his corner his knee was busted as well, right? Alright, let's get this next round going. 15 minutes 49 seconds on Fight Pass. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. There you see the weakness that Michael Knight was talking about again with Sandhagen turning his back to TJ. So I've got Sandhagen up 2 rounds here. A lot of people, though, you see the tweets in the bottom left corner, a lot of people are scoring this fight 1 round apiece. I will say this. I think a big mistake people make when they score MMA fights is they still use a lot of the elements from the old scoring criteria. Things like octagon control, aggression and all that stuff, right? If you read the new scoring criteria, I keep saying it's new, it's not new, it came in like 2017. So if you read the scoring criteria for MMA, you shouldn't score like control or aggression unless grappling and striking is equal. So for me, you have to score round 1 for Sandhagen, because even though Dillashaw did hold on to Sandhagen in positions like this in round 1, even though Dillashaw was the guy on top in round 1, he didn't do anything. You know, you can't score round 1 for Dillashaw based on effective striking because he got outstruck. And in my opinion, you can't score round 1 for Dillashaw with effective grappling because his grappling was ineffective. He wasn't able to obtain a dominant position off it. It was Sandhagen, the guy attacking with submissions, doing damage off his back. And ultimately, Dillashaw was the guy walking back to his corner, busted up with an injured knee. So a lot of people in the bottom left on Twitter scoring the fight 1 round apiece here. I just don't think that's a correct interpretation of the scoring. You know, if we're focusing on, you know, effective striking and grappling, how could you say that Dillashaw was more of an effective striker or grappler than Sandhagen in round 1? That just doesn't fly with me. And in this round, again, we're seeing Sandhagen chip away at Dillashaw and light him up. We're seeing Sandhagen inflict quite a lot of damage in this round. Obviously, Dillashaw got cut quite badly in the last round, and now we're really seeing Sandhagen chip away at him from behind the jab and open him up. But again, Michael Knight, it's exactly what Michael Knight said. Too much spinning shit is getting him into trouble. Like, look at this position now. He's gone from a situation where he's in total control. He's gone from a position where he's just chipping away at Dillashaw, inflicting big damage, racking up major volume, to throw in a spinning attack that he didn't need to throw because he was doing a good enough job with his boxing, to now allowing Dillashaw back into this round. You know, Dillashaw only obtained this position because Sandhagen decided to throw a spinning attack. Now, if you've got very educated judges, this doesn't mean anything. If you've got educated judges, this doesn't mean a damn thing. Because again, what does the scoring criteria say? The primary scoring criteria: score on effective striking, effective grappling. You only consider things like aggression and octagon control if striking and grappling is equal, which in this instance they're not, because Dillashaw has taken tons and tons of damage standing, and when he's tried to get the fight to the ground, he hasn't been effective, right? Wasn't able to establish a dominant position. Sandhagen worked through the position and got right back to kickboxing range without taking too much damage, without being controlled. So if you've got really, really educated judges, Sandhagen's cruising here. The problem is we often don't get educated judges, which is a big issue. Big issue. But yeah, this is another clear Sandhagen round for me because he's inflicted big damage with his boxing in this round. Big damage. But then there's mistakes like that, right? Why shoot a double leg? Why shoot a double leg there? Like, when you stick to the basics, or when Sandhagen has stuck to the basics in this round, he's inflicted so much damage on Dillashaw off that jab. The only time Sandhagen's got himself into trouble in this round is when he's deviated from what he does best, and he's just tried to take Dillashaw down, and he's obviously thrown that spinning attack. When he's just focused on using his boxing, he's done major damage here. So this is another clear round to Sandhagen for me. Let me know how you score this round, guys. This is probably going to be another contentious round. But in my opinion, Sandhagen won that round clear. Clear as day. That is a definite round for Sandhagen. The reason why you've got to score that round for Sandhagen is because he did so much damage with his boxing in that round. And when they did get into grappling positions, TJ didn't achieve anything with them. He didn't achieve anything with them. It certainly didn't trump all the damage that Sandhagen did with his boxing. So I've got Sandhagen up 3 rounds here. And again, I can see how people kind of messed the scoring up a little bit, because the mistake Sandhagen's made here is he did allow Dillashaw to finish the first round and finish the third round stronger. However, Dillashaw didn't achieve anything with what he did to finish both rounds stronger, you know. So sync up round 2 for me now. Round 2 starts... no, not round 2. What am I talking about? Round 4, boys. Round 4 starts at 21 minutes 58. Starts at 21 minutes 58. Double Leg is saying Petr Yan's pressure should be a lot more intense than TJ's. I like the over 4.5 rounds as well. That's not a bad idea at all, Double Leg. That does make a lot of sense. You are definitely right as well, man. Petr Yan's a much scarier pressure fighter than TJ. Let's take a look at the odds on that over, man. What have we got? Even money range. It is interesting, dude. I can see where you're coming from, because both guys are so tough. And they've both proven that they can take a lot of damage and get into wars and go the distance, right? They've both shown us they can fight hard for 5 rounds. Do like your logic there, mate. You know what I would say about this statement, though? What is interesting to me is that we've watched Petr Yan and we're watching Cory Sandhagen now against Sterling and Dillashaw, whose game plan early on was clearly to try and take him down, right? I'm interested to see how much better both guys might look against each other when they're not having to worry about being taken down. Because the thing is, right, when Sterling was pressuring Yan and Yan was forced to fight on the back foot, Yan didn't look very good, right? Sterling could kind of pepper him with volume, and Yan looked very vulnerable, very hittable. Yan didn't look good in that range. But then Yan was probably only in that range because he was worried about being taken down. And like we said, he wants to stay on the outside and be relatively close to the cage so that when Sterling does shoot, he hasn't got to travel back very far to get his back to the cage. The same could probably be said with Sandhagen, right? Let's be real. Sandhagen has been very comfortable here in kickboxing range. The only time Sandhagen struggled a little bit in this fight is on the ground. He hasn't struggled that much, but that's the one area Dillashaw's had a little bit of success. So you've got to wonder how much is Sandhagen's striking being disrupted by the threat of the takedown. And when both these guys, both Yan and Sandhagen, face each other and they're not going to have to worry about the takedown, are they both really going to shine? Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's possible that the threat of the takedowns really affected these guys. JB saying Cory's likely to make a fight-ending mistake. It takes too many unnecessary chances. He does, right? It's crazy. It doesn't make sense to me either, JB, man, because when you listen to him in interviews, he's so smart. You know what I mean? Like, he does a lot of research on his opponents. He understands how fights are scored. You can see he's a very intelligent guy that really understands MMA on like a much deeper level than most fighters. But then that's not reflected in his performances or his style, because like you say, he does take a lot of unnecessary risks, and he does make like simple mistakes, like allowing Dillashaw to finish rounds strong, when we know if you do allow your opponents to finish rounds strong or stronger, often judges will punish you. You'd think Sandhagen would be too smart to make those mistakes, but we've seen him make it in the first round and the third round now. You know, Sandhagen did amazing for the first 4 minutes of round 1 and 3, but then he let Dillashaw finish stronger in the first and third round, which enabled him, you know, Dillashaw to finish the round stronger and give the judges an opportunity to take those rounds from him. Yeah, you could be right, JB, man. Maybe he just isn't thinking straight, right, and just goofs out. Good point, dude. Roberts is saying, I love to agree with you, but I feel like he's great on the counter. Not sure he likes the pace over 5 rounds on the back foot, though. Yeah, I don't agree with what Royd is saying, man, where he said Cory hates fighting backwards. I think no one's going to feel great with the pressure someone like Petr Yan's going to put on him, but I think that Cory's kind of a counter striker, so no one wants to be walked down by a guy like Petr Yan for 5 rounds. But you know, I think Sandhagen's a much better counter striker. I think Cory's much more comfortable fighting backwards than most guys in the UFC. I mean, we saw it in the John Lineker fight. It was a grueling fight. It was a war, but Sandhagen hung in there, man. Looked all right. Looked just fine. Wow. So Bopham coach, who I think is Joey McBride, is saying that all 3 judges gave TJ round 1, and 90% of people that scored the fight on MMA decisions gave round 1 to TJ too. Holy fuckballs. And then Joey is saying that he thought Sandhagen won round 1 as well. That's interesting. So what Joey is saying is almost everyone scored round 1 for TJ. And yet, when we're watching this fight back in the cold light of day, almost everyone here is scoring round 1 for Sandhagen. I think it was only Pep Silva that scored round 1 for TJ. So that's super interesting, man. You know, when it comes to stuff like that, right? like Joey's telling us that all 3 judges gave round 1 to TJ, and 90% of people on MMA Decisions also gave it to TJ. Like, when you hear something like that that's so different to what we see watching the fight back in the cold light of day, it makes you wonder if, like, something happening in the arena that comes across on the broadcast is having an influence on people's decision making. I don't know, is it stuff the commentators are saying? Is it the energy in the crowd? Like, did Dillashaw do something particularly big in round 1 that the crowd reacted in a huge way to, which influenced the judges, influenced the people watching the fight on TV? Whereas when we're live betting the fights, we got the volume, well, I've got the volume off because I'm commentating, and obviously I've got the volume off now. Like, it's a bit weird, right? I wonder why so many people did score round 1 for TJ. Like, it was a close round, but I don't know, man. I don't feel TJ really achieved much in round 1. AES is saying Yan's going to put him in so much pressure, no way he's going into boxing range with a boxer like Yan. It depends, right? Because Yan alternates between fighting in 2 different ranges. You've got the Yan that'll stand in the middle of the octagon for a little bit and let you tee off on him. And then you've got the Yan that comes forward and pressures. But Yan isn't like a Diaz type fighter that'll just pressure relentlessly for 5 rounds. He alternates between those 2 different ranges. Roberts is saying, being entirely fair to Sandhagen, he has spectacular KOs with wheel kicks and flying knees over solid opponents. So Matern is saying that DC said Dillashaw definitely won round 1 live. And that could be it, right? I mean, that what DC said doesn't explain why all 3 judges scored the round for Dillashaw, but you don't know, man. Maybe the crowd were a little bit flat in the first 4 minutes of round 1 while Sandhagen was kind of boxing TJ up, and then maybe when TJ, got Sandhagen to the ground at the end of round 1, maybe the crowd started going crazy. Maybe that's why people were swayed. Double Egg saying, I do think Petr Yan has an advantage in the clinch. Yeah, for sure, man. I think Petr Yan has an advantage anytime these guys come together. Petr Yan, I think, has a huge advantage in the clinch and in grappling, dude. I think Petr Yan's a bit of a monster. I think Petr Yan's a lot stronger than TJ, because the way that Petr Yan manhandled Sterling, like, Sterling's a big, strong dude, man. If he can I mean, if you look at the difference in physicality between Sterling and Sandhagen, when they came together, if you look at how Sterling essentially ragdolled Sandhagen to the ground, Yan kind of held his own against Sterling, like using Sterling as a measuring stick. I think, yeah, anytime those 2 guys come together, I think Yan's going to have a big physicality advantage over Sandhagen, which is probably where a lot of Petr Yan's power comes from as well, right? Hugo Boss is saying, do you think Glover can win Yan in the same way Gustafsson did against Yan? That is a tricky question. The short answer is yes, but so look, right, I will say this. We'll research the Yan versus Glover fight tomorrow. I will say this. Yan Blachowicz is awful on the ground, right? Yan Blachowicz, very low level grappler, and his takedown defense isn't great either. The problem with this fight for Glover is that he's very stiff when he comes forward, and when he shoots takedowns on his opponents, he comes in very stiff, very rigid, very upright, very high in on his opponent's hips. And the problem with a guy like Blachowicz is these days he's very good at kind of playing the role of matador, waiting for you to come to him, and then when you do come to him, he uncorks those giant body kicks, those giant hooks, which inflict so much damage. The problem with Glover's style is because he's so old now, because he's so slow, so easy to hit. Yan is so powerful. I think it's going to be very difficult for Glover to avoid the bombs of Yan. I think it's going to be tricky. So the simple answer to your question is yes, I do think Glover can utilize a similar game plan that Gustafsson used to kind of take Yan down and dominate him on the ground. The problem is Glover doesn't have the chin that Gustafsson had, and he's not as good of an offensive wrestler as Gustafsson because he's kind of old and slow and stiff now. But if Glover does get Yan to the ground, he is in a fucking world of trouble. A world of trouble. So Roberts is saying, I'm usually in line with the judges, but round one for Dillashaw baffles me. Yeah, it's kind of comforting to see so many people score round one for Sandhagen in the cold light of day. Alright, let's go. Yeah, I did. That's the interview that I referred to a few times. So take the red pill, saying Sandhagen had an interview with Ariel Helwani after this fight, and so take the red pill's bringing up a really good point. So do you know I mentioned a few times in the live stream about how Sandhagen's a really intelligent guy. He understands how rounds are scored. He understands often the way in which judges are determining who wins a round. Sandhagen understands all different aspects of fighting. He understands his opponents. He does a lot of research on them. Sandhagen's a super smart guy. And then in the octagon, he makes a lot of mistakes. But Take the Red Pill is just reminding us that when Sandhagen did his interview with Ariel Helwani after this fight, it was like a 20-30 minute interview on the MMA Hour, Sandhagen pointed out all of the mistakes he made that we're talking about now, which is huge because so often fighters will make mistakes and they will continue to make mistakes in every single fight. You know, it just becomes a habit for them. You look at a guy like Kevin Holland, makes the same mistakes in every fight, right? When you look at a guy like Sandhagen, who can be very specific and point out what mistakes he's made, that's such a bullish sign because it's kind of a pretty strong indicator that he's going to be working hard to fix the issues that we're being critical of him for. You know what I mean? So maybe this weekend he will avoid throwing spinning stuff. Maybe if the fight does go to the ground, he'll show more urgency to pop back up to his feet instead of rolling for legs and stuff. If Yan does get into the clinch, he'll show more urgency to get his back off the cage. Because I will say this, Yan's definitely more physically imposing. Definitely more physically imposing than Sandhagen. Yan's definitely going to have the advantage in the clinch and on the ground, but it won't be easy for Yan to control someone as big as Sandhagen. It's not going to be easy for someone that's 5'7" like Yan to hold someone that's 5'11" like Sandhagen against the cage or on the ground. It's not going to be easy. It comes down to Sandhagen's mentality. Is he going to hesitate in bad positions and take too long to work through positions, or is he going to show urgency to work out of positions? Because we've all seen it in this fight where Dillashaw would get to that body lock against the cage, and then Sandhagen's just kind of stood there, frustrated, looking at his corner, looking at the referee, as if to say he's not doing anything. But we know, in that position, it's not helping. All it's doing is burning the clock and allowing Dillashaw to score points. When instead of looking frustrated towards your corner and the ref, you could just work to break the grip, dig under hooks, turn into your opponent, and get out of trouble. So it will be interesting to see if Sandhagen does fix those problems. There's a good chance with how smart he is. You know? All right. David. So David's making a mistake that a lot of people make when scoring fights. So I'll actually bring it up to show you guys why David is making a mistake scoring this fight. And I'm not doing this to single David out. David's a great guy, man. But I just want to show David why I do think Sandhagen's up 3 rounds to 2. 3 rounds to 1. So David is saying the mistake I'm making is that I am not scoring the aggression of Dillashaw. So what I'm doing is showing David why the way I'm scoring the fight is correct. So as you can see, so this is the official scoring criteria used by, well, what should be all MMA judges. So it says in the first sentence, to evolve mixed martial arts judging criteria, to evolve mixed martial arts judging criteria to focus on the result of action versus action itself, it must be stated that criteria is to be used in specific order. And notice how the word in specific order is bolded, right? Specific order, very important. These criteria may not move from one to the next without the prior criteria being 100% even in judges' assessments. So what this opening paragraph in the scoring criteria says is there's a specific order in which you need to score fights, and you only use the second and third criteria if the previous criteria is considered 100% even. So the first prioritized criteria to score a fight on is effective striking and effective grappling. If you cannot determine who had the advantage in striking or grappling, you then move on and judge the round based on effective aggressiveness. If after that, if you can't work out who had the advantage in striking and grappling and they were both equally aggressive, you then consider octagon control. But you do not consider effective aggressiveness or fighting control or octagon control unless effective striking and grappling is even. So, based on how this criteria is worded, based on, you know, the criteria that all judges, everyone should be using since 2016, I don't think you can score round one for Dillashaw. And I think Sandhagen's up 3 rounds here. So if we look at the contentious round, which is round 1, if we're judging round 1 on effective striking and grappling, Sandhagen had by far the more effective striking. He did a lot more damage. He landed cleaner, harder strikes. He was by far the more effective striker in round 1. I think everyone can agree on that. We then move to effective grappling, which is a little bit more complicated. But if you look at, you know, the actual wording of the criteria again, top and bottom position fighters are assessed more on the impactful, effective result of their actions more so than their position. So how can you score round 1 for Dillashaw based on his grappling when he didn't do anything with his grappling? He didn't obtain a dominant position. He didn't really do much damage with his grappling control. He didn't attack with any submissions. It says here, top and bottom position fighters are assessed more on impactful, effective result of their actions. So if you look at Sandhagen, he was attacking with strikes off his back, he was attacking with submissions, and he, you know, significantly injured the knee of Dillashaw. So if we're scoring MMA fights, if we're scoring this fight how it's supposed to be scored, for me, Sandhagen has to be up 3 rounds here. I don't see how you can score round 1 for Dillashaw based on the criteria everyone's supposed to be using. And I'm not singling David Zhao out. I'm just saying I don't see how you can say Dillashaw had more effective striking or grappling than Sandhagen in round 1. I just don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. So I think when you see, you know, 90% of people on MMA decisions scoring round 1 for Dillashaw, I just think it's because they're using old criteria where they're considering aggression and octagon control when we've just read they shouldn't unless everything else is equal. Anyway, that's how I view it anyway. That's how I view it. Alright. Let's take a look. Let's get into this next round. So I think we're on round 4. So round 4 on Fight Pass starts at 21 minutes 58. 21 minutes 58. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. So I've got Sandhagen up 3 rounds here. Like I say, I can see why people have gone with Dillashaw in round 1. I just don't think it's the correct way to score that round based on the criteria. So Sandhagen for me is up 3 rounds. Second and third round pretty clear. First round I can see where people are getting a little bit You know, where it's getting a little bit mixed up. You know what I mean? A little bit mixed up. With Dillashaw finishing the round strong and having some grappling. No, but Pep, but Pep, right? I do understand what you're saying. You don't know that TJ had a knee injury, but you do know that Sandhagen was the one throwing up triangles, right? You do know that Sandhagen was the guy attacking off his back. You do know Sandhagen was the guy rolling for legs. Like, what did Dillashaw do from top position? That's the point I'm trying to make. We're not scoring round one for Sandhagen based on the fact that he injured Dillashaw's knee, because like you said, no one could have known he injured his knee. But if I were to ask you what did Dillashaw do in round one, it's difficult to list stuff, right? We know Sandhagen outstruck Dillashaw by a decent margin in round one, not on the numbers, but that's because Dillashaw was landing shots on the ground and in the clinch, like those knees from the body lock position. Those helped improve his striking stats. But in kickboxing range, Sandhagen outclassed Dillashaw, and then when they went to the ground, like, it was a bit of a stalemate, right? Neither guy achieved too much, right? Dillashaw was the guy controlling the position, but Sandhagen was the guy attacking. Remember what the scoring criteria said. Top or bottom position doesn't matter. So for me, I just ask a simple question. What did Dillashaw do to deserve winning round one? You know what I mean? That's what I would ask, you know? So Pep saying TJ had Cory's back and was digging knees as he held Cory against the cage, completely rendering any offense from him more than a minute of 5. You know, I think it depends on how you interpret the action. So for me, they were in the position you do speak of, and TJ was landing knees in that position. But for me, Sandhagen was choosing to be there in terms of he was just kind of allowing TJ to hang on to him. He wasn't really... It wasn't like Sandhagen was being put there against his will. TJ was kind of hanging on to him. And we see it again here, right? Sandhagen's just making this mistake of just allowing TJ to kind of hold on to him for this position and burn himself out a little bit. You know, I don't know why Sandhagen does dick around this much, but when I see a guy in this position, I'm not looking at this like, oh my god, Sandhagen's in so much trouble. Like, TJ's pressing him against the cage, he can't do anything. When I look at a position like that, for me it's more like Sandhagen can move away from that position anytime he wants. So I don't really credit fighters with many points in positions like that, because ultimately anytime Sandhagen wants to get his back off the cage, he can. It's different with you know, with someone like an Usman or a Khabib that's pinning you against the cage, grinding on you, wearing you down, chipping away at you. That's different. But like here, like Dillashaw doesn't really have very much here, in my opinion. He's not really doing any damage. Sure, he's landing like knees, but he's not really doing much damage with the knees. You know, he's not able to obtain a dominant position. Like, Sandhagen's pretty comfortable here. Now, if Sandhagen in round one hadn't really done much damage standing, I completely agree with you. Those knees are significant, because those knees would trump anything that Sandhagen did in kickboxing range. But the reality is, Sandhagen did outstrike Dillashaw in kickboxing range, did land, you know, outland Dillashaw by a decent margin in kickboxing range, had that damage, and so a few short knees in the clinch when Sandhagen's choosing to be in that position, it doesn't really change much for me, you know. Now, I do have Dillashaw winning this round. Now, this round is how I think a lot of people are viewing round one. But then, as I say that, Sandhagen does land a spinning back fist. But say we give Dillashaw the benefit of the doubt, right, and score this round for him. This fourth round is how I think a lot of people are viewing round one. So the reason why I would go Sandhagen round one is because he was a much more effective striker in kickboxing range. And then when Dillashaw had his grappling control, he didn't really do a lot with it. The difference in round 4, the reason why I score round 4 for Dillashaw, is because Dillashaw had a lot of grappling control in round 4. And when they were out in kickboxing range, Sandhagen didn't do a great deal. So round 4 I go Dillashaw, but I think a lot of people are viewing round 1 like round 4, whereas I see it differently because of the success that Sandhagen had standing. That's how I would look at this one. So now I've got this 3 rounds to 1. I've got Sandhagen rounds 1, 2 and 3, and I've got Yan taking round 4. So let's get into round 5. Sync it up for me, guys. Let's go. Sync it up. Sync it up, boys. Round 5. Round 5. Let's go. Round 5. Let's go. Let's go. Round 5. So round 5 starts in 28 minutes and 6 seconds. So that's 28 minutes and 6 seconds. Let's get it going. 28 minutes and 6 seconds. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So yeah, man, I've got this 3 rounds to 1 for Sandhagen. I mean, if you do want to give round 1 to Dillashaw, it's 2 rounds apiece at worst, I think. So I'll be very interested to see how this 5th round plays out. Let's see what's up in this 5th. What I will say about Sandhagen is I do think he's become more flat-footed as the fight goes on, as the fight has gone on. Like, he's still moving all right here. It's not like he's gassed or anything, but he's not as light on his feet as he was earlier in the fight. Like, it's a lot easier for TJ to pressure him here than it was earlier on in the fight. Like, you can see it here, right? Dillashaw's having a lot more success coming forward and pressuring him now. And, you know, in that range, that's where Yan's going to cause him big trouble. Because when Yan comes forward, he's going to pose much more of a threat to Sandhagen than Dillashaw did. Because ultimately, you know Dillashaw's coming forward to try and work his way inside to get to the takedown. Whereas when Yan's going to be coming forward, you know he's going to be coming inside to land bombs on Sandhagen. Like, you see it there, right? Nice clean right hand lands for Dillashaw. But then, again, you know, we've got to ask ourselves that same question. Would Sandhagen's striking look a lot more effective if he wasn't worried about being taken down? Like, that's the question. Is Dillashaw having a lot more success pressuring Sandhagen and landing because Sandhagen's worried about being taken down? But I've got Dillashaw winning this round so far. He's just landing the cleaner, harder shots on Sandhagen at the moment. So after this, we'll go and watch Yan against Aldo, because it will be interesting to see what Yan looks like against a guy in Aldo that isn't going to try and take him down. So I've got Dillashaw winning this round, even though Dillashaw has been opened up quite bad in this round. Cory hasn't landed tons in this round. Starting to get that jab going. So Dillashaw's just edging this round at the moment for me. Sandhagen's starting to pick the volume up though. You can see both guys at the moment. Both guys have seen their volume drop, and that's probably because they know they're coming to the business end of this round, where whoever finishes this round stronger might be winning the fight. So they're both kind of taking the middle part of this round off to go hard at the very end of this round. I think momentum has started to swing in favour of Sandhagen here. He started to inflict a decent amount of damage with that jab. And when Dillashaw does come forward and let that right hand go, Sandhagen's doing a pretty good job of slipping it. So I'm scoring this round for Sandhagen now. He started to do a decent amount of damage and rack up a decent amount of volume with that jab. Like, Dillashaw landed a couple big shots early in the round, but I feel Sandhagen swung momentum back in his favour from behind the jab. So in a position like this, for me, Sandhagen... in a position like that, for me, Dillashaw's not scoring in a position like that. He hasn't achieved anything by putting Sandhagen against the cage. And again, you just see Sandhagen backing up, chipping away with the jab. I think this is a good round for Sandhagen at the moment. Unless Dillashaw does something huge in the final minute. So TJ shoots a nice deep double leg there. Sandhagen's got that underhook on the right side. And again, look at this. This is what pisses me off about Sandhagen. He's talking to Herb Dean when he should be focused on getting his back off the cage. You know, he dug that underhook on the left side. Why not focus on getting your back off the cage now instead of talking to the ref? And this is something we saw him do a lot. When TJ was controlling him with the body lock against the cage, he would look to his corner, he would look to the ref instead of just getting his back off the cage. But this is a big round for Sandhagen. Unless Dillashaw does something huge in the next 24 seconds, I don't see how you can score this fight for TJ Dillashaw. I've got it 4 rounds to 1, but 3 rounds to 2 are absolute worst. So yeah, let me know how you scored this fight, boys. But I've got this 4 rounds to 1 for Cory. Yeah, that's it. We got robbed, boys. We got robbed. That was a bad one. We got robbed there. That's a bad decision. There's no way Dillashaw won that fight, man. That is a bad one. That's a very bad decision. After watching this back in the cold light of day, I would be amazed if anyone could tell me TJ Dillashaw won that fight. Like, us just sat here watching it round by round. I don't see how TJ won 3 rounds there. Like, what 3 rounds did he win? The only rounds which were contentious for me are rounds 1 and 4. I don't see how you can score that fight for TJ. Do you know what? I will say this. When the decision was read out, and it was a split decision with TJ, even though I didn't score the fight for TJ, in my mind I was like, you know what, Sandhagen did mess around quite a bit. He did hesitate in bad positions at times for too long. Some of those rounds were close. You know, it is what it is. Like, I'll just take that loss on the chin. But walking it back in the cold light of day, or watching it back in the cold light of day, that's a really, really bad decision. Like, look, if you want to give round 1 to TJ, go for it, right? I don't think, like, if you read the scoring criteria, I don't think it's the correct decision to score round 1 for TJ. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But say you want to give round 1 to TJ, fair enough. What other 2 rounds did TJ win in that fight? You know, what 3 rounds did TJ win there? That's a bad decision, man. That's a very, very bad decision. And it's nice watching it back in the cold light of day like this, because I remember I took so much shit after this fight for telling people Sandhagen won. Everyone telling me, nah, bro, Dillashaw, octagon control, all this bollocks. When you watch it back in the cold light of day, even if you're scoring octagon control and aggression for Dillashaw, he still lost. Even based on octagon control and aggression, you still can't give TJ 3 of those rounds. And look how devastated Sandhagen is. Look at the body language of both guys. Look at the body language, man. Rewind the decision when it's read out. Sandhagen is literally stood there waiting for his name to be read out. And look at Dillashaw. Dillashaw's like kind of already accepting a loss. Look at the shock in their faces when Bruce announces the result. Look at the shock. Dillashaw puts his head down. Dillashaw goes, oh, man. Before it's even read out, he puts his head down accepting the loss. Sandhagen's like, say my name. Look. Look at the shock. Look at the shock in both guys. TJ's like, yeah, great. Won the fucking lottery. TJ's won the fucking lottery. Sandhagen's fucking gutted. I'm gutted. I want my money back. I lost a lot of money on Sandhagen. I want my money back. That's a fucking bad one. That's a fucking bad decision. I'm triggered by that. I am very, very triggered by that decision. But what can you do? Triggered. That's a bad decision, motherfucker. Nightmare. Alright. Yeah, I want my money back. That is a very bad decision. Should be 4-1 Sandhagen. Fucking 3-2 at worst. Jesus Christ. Painful to watch. Alright. Anyway, we've seen Yan against a grappler in Sterling. Now let's take a look at him against a striker in Aldo. So sync up this next one for me, boys. Sync it up. I'll grab you guys the ESPN Plus link now. I will get this fight going. And then I think by the time we're done researching this fight, we should be ready to move on to the next one. So if you do want to watch more of my fight research, I will be live streaming more fights tonight, or live streaming research for more fights over on Twitch. Can't do them on YouTube because the YouTube copyright algorithm's too aggressive. So slide on over to Twitch. I'll leave my URL for Twitch in there. And slide on over, man. So I'm going to research another 2 or 3 fights tonight. Probably another 2 fights. 2 fights. Because the NFL will start in like 2.5 hours. So if we squeeze in 2 more fights, we'll squeeze in 2 more fights tonight. And then the NFL will be on then. Anyway, let's get this next one going. Yan versus Aldo. Sync it up for me, guys. Let's go. Let's see what we've got. I want my money back, man. I just got robbed. Want my fucking money back. Want my money back. That is a fucking clear Sandhagen decision. I want my fucking money back. Like I say, we literally bet Petr Yan to beat Sterling and we bet Sandhagen to beat Dillashaw. How the fuck did we go 0-2 on those 2 bets? And now both guys are fighting for the title. It is fucking painful. Or interim title, but we all know who the real belt will belong to come Saturday night. The paper champ, Aljamain Sterling. Alright, let's get this next one going. Aldo versus Yan. Sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then after this, boys, we'll do a couple more fights tonight. Trying to think of the best fights to do. I'm just kind of scouting which fights might be best for betting. Shall we do, if we look at the odds, shall we do Ankalaev Ozdemir? Should we do Ankalaev Ozdemir? Because I know we're all big fans of Ankalaev. And then maybe don't know, we'll think, we'll have a think. Let me know, boys, what fight you'd like to do next. Could do Ramos Tukagov Brett. Problem is, I don't think I'm going to bet that fight, man. Both guys are not trustworthy. Both guys slow down a lot as the fight goes on. Ramos, bad fight IQ. Tugagov's got bad fight IQ as well, to be fair. What are the odds on Duraev, David? Nah, probably give that one a miss, mate. He's a big favourite. And I know that with his name, he's probably quite a scary grappler. And I know that Kopilov's got really bad takedown defense and quite a bad ground game. So Duraev wasn't that high up on my list. Is Duraev a grappler? If Duraev is a striker, we'll do it. But if Duraev's a grappler, I'm not interested. We'll leave that to later on in the week and prioritise some better matchups. Let me know, man. Let me know. You know what, though, Brett? I don't think any of the fights on this card are going to be very good for betting, mate, if I'm honest. Well, not any. There will be some. But obviously, there's a lot of heavy favourites on this card, which is tricky. So this is the range in which I think Sandhagen's going to do really well against Yan. Stood toe-to-toe in this kickboxing range. I think when Yan starts to pressure, that's when Sandhagen will find it difficult. But I think in this range, I think Sandhagen can have a lot of success using his length to chip away at Yan. But anyway, boys, we've been on this stream for over 2 hours now. I feel like we've watched a good enough amount of footage on these guys. Let me know who you think. Well, actually, that's not a correct question to ask. Let me know if you think either of these guys is worth a bet. I definitely don't want to bet Yan as a big favourite. I love Yan. I'm a big fan of Yan. But obviously, Sandhagen's no picnic. And the risk-to-reward ratio on Yan's not great. I think the real question is whether Sandhagen's worth a bet. Let me know what you think, guys. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Like I say, we saw it in the Sterling fight, man. I do think Sandhagen can do really well in this range. It's when Yan starts the pressure that I think Sandhagen's going to struggle. But in this range, I think Sandhagen does really well. You can just see Sandhagen kind of peppering Yan with kicks and chipping away at him from behind that jab. So Brett likes a bet on Sandhagen, so does JB, so does Matern. You know what, boys? The way I look at it is, I do think Yan is more likely to win, but I agree with you. I do think there's a good amount of value on Sandhagen. Like, I don't at all feel confident in Sandhagen, though, because Yan's devastating when he pressures. I just think, you know how we've kind of been really critical over a lot of mistakes that Sandhagen makes. I do think Yan makes a lot of mistakes as well. Like, he does take long periods off in rounds. You know, he does allow his opponent to rack up a good amount of volume on him without answering back. I think Yan might be one of these guys that does at times put all his eggs in one basket. He relies on his opponent's fading, or he relies on his ability to win a certain number of rounds. But when he gets it wrong, it could cost him. I think actually Yan and Sandhagen are such high level guys, but there are issues with their tactics and game planning. Alright, sync up round 2 for me, guys. Let's get round 2 going. So round 2 starts in 8 minutes 52. Nice one, Red Pill dude. Take care, man. See you later, dude. So Red Pill thinks it's a 50-50 fight. Conscientious objector saying Yan will stop him in the 2nd or 3rd round. Interesting. I mean, he might. He might, dude. Wow, interesting. Few people saying they think Yan will finish Sandhagen. That is very interesting. And Ginzo, Indigo Ginzo just pointing out that if Petr Yan does come in with a grappling heavy game plan, Sandhagen's going to be in a lot of trouble. I do agree with you there, dude. Definitely agree, mate. Do agree, dude. Yeah, that's true, Brett. That is true, mate. Sandhagen's implied probability is very attractive. Alright, let's get this next one going. Round 2. Sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. Let's go. Like, I think the big issue with Yan is that he does alternate between fighting in 2 different ranges, right? He fights in this range where he doesn't really do very much, and you can rack up big volume on him, and then he comes forward and pressures. I think the big issue with Yan is that he doesn't always come forward and pressure enough. Like we saw in long periods of the Jimmy Rivera fight, long periods against Faber, long periods here where he's not doing a lot. And the problem when you have that style is that you do put all your eggs in one basket. You rely on being able to have very good rounds, and you rely on having very good moments at the end of rounds to steal rounds. But what if a guy like Sandhagen kind of outfoxes you, right? What if he moves in a way, defends himself in a way which doesn't allow you to finish rounds strong. And he's done so much good work, you know, in the early stage of that round where you haven't been doing a lot, that you start to drop rounds. Do you know what I mean? I do think it's quite unlikely the Sandhagen gets finished. I think it's quite unlikely Yan gets finished as well. I think this fight's more likely to go the distance. I just think both guys are so tough and they're both such high-level strikers that it's just going to be a high-stakes chess match for 5 rounds. And I also think one of the main reasons why Yan's able to come forward and pressure guys is because a lot of the guys he's coming forward and pressuring don't pose that much of a threat to him. It's easy to walk guys like Uriah Faber and Aljamain Sterling down, because you haven't got to worry too much about what's coming back at you. It's a whole different ball game. I mean, look at that. You've just seen Petr Yan forced to switch stances off the leg kicks that Aldo's landed. But it's a whole different ball game to walk a guy down like Sandhagen, because we've seen how fast Sandhagen can cover distance and land real fast counter shots that land with real big impact. And another thing we got to think about as well, Dillashaw pushed an insane pace against Sandhagen, and Sandhagen looked all right in that 5th round. You've got to wonder if the reason why Petr Yan kind of alternates between these two different ranges but doesn't fight at a super high pace is because he needs to pace himself over 5 rounds. You don't know if a guy like Sandhagen, peppering him with body kicks, jabs, attacking the legs, you know, forcing him to exchange, forcing him to defend himself, you don't know if Yan's going to be able to keep up with the pace that Sandhagen sets over 5 rounds. Because a big part of this slow start from Yan is to ensure that he can perform well into that 3rd, 4th and 5th rounds, right? Whereas Dillashaw forced Sandhagen to sprint for 5 rounds. Now, I know that Sterling also forced Yan to sprint for, you know, as long as the fight went on. But Sterling wasn't inflicting big damage in kickboxing range. Like, we're seeing Aldo do a pretty good job here of chipping away at Yan, whereas Sandhagen's obviously got the length, the more diverse range of attacks, the unpredictability. You know, Aldo's doing just fine here. And we've got to remember how much damage Sandhagen was able to rack up on Dillashaw with that jab. And this is what I mean, right? We're 4 minutes into this round, and Yan has allowed Aldo to outstrike him by a wide margin. Like, what happens if when Yan comes forward now in the final minute and starts to let his hands go, Sandhagen's done his homework on Yan, he's wise to the strategy, and he just starts to circle away and, you know, not play that game. We know Yan likes to finish rounds strong, but what if Sandhagen's learned from the mistake he made against Dillashaw and he gets on his bike and he's not there for Yan in the final minute of every round? But yeah, this fight is making me want to take a little stabby stab on Sandhagen for sure. Just long periods of inactivity with Yan, and with Sandhagen being such a big underdog. And you see it here, right? Yan's thrown more in this final minute than he did in the first 4 minutes. Bootlegger says, do you think there's a potentially good ARB spot on Sandhagen if he starts fast and Yan bides time crunching data early? Do you know what, dude? ARB. Do you know what? So are you basically saying being able to basically bet both guys at dog odds, right? I think what Bootlegger is basically saying is bet Sandhagen at big dog odds pre-fight, because he's likely to start slow when Yan... Well, I think what Bootleg is trying to say is you can bet Sandhagen at big underdog odds now, and then with Yan probably starting slow, the probability is Sandhagen will win the early rounds, which will improve the odds on Yan, which means then you may be able to bet both Yan and Sandhagen at underdog odds. I mean, that could work, dude. That could work. I don't tend to approach betting like that, really. But it could work, dude. I prefer to just focus on, you know, digging up strong positions, right? And just focus on who's more likely to win fights at the time the money goes in. But I can see how that would work, mate. Getting both guys at dog odds. J Mac is saying, just joined the stream, took Sandhagen last week, plus 200 is 50-50. Yeah, you know what, J Mac? I don't know if it's 50-50. Like, I do think it's more likely Yan wins. But I do think that capping this fight 70-30 in favour of Yan is silly. I do think that there's a good chance this is going to be competitive. So to have Sandhagen at an implied probability of 30% is pretty nuts. The value is definitely all over Sandhagen, for sure, man. The value is definitely on Sandhagen, even though I do think it's more likely Yan wins. Value's definitely on Sandhagen. Yeah, you'd have to be crazy to bet Yan at 1.40 minus 250. I do know that. Alright. Let's get it going into the next round. Round 3. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, what we'll do, boys, I'm not too sure what fight we're researching next, but as soon as this fight is done, we'll move over to Twitch and we'll start researching some more fights over on Twitch. So I'll take like a 5 or 10 minute break, something like that, and then we'll come back. We'll probably do, I do fancy taking a look at Magomed Ankalaev against Volkan Oezdemir. Obviously, Ankalaev is a big favourite, and he should beat Oezdemir, but maybe we can find value on Oezdemir. I doubt it, but maybe we can. We'll see what we get when we go into researching it. So it might not be the most interesting fight from a betting point of view, with Ankalaev being a big favourite, but we'll see what happens. We will see. Yeah, that is possible as well, Roberts, dude. It is possible. It is possible, mate. So let's see the difference in volume from Yan in this round. So we're now into round 3. Let's see if he really cranks the pace up here, because he had painfully slow volume in rounds 1 and 2. So we'll be done here soon, and then we'll have to make a decision on this one. So we're seeing a lot more volume from Yan in this round, but not a lot of pressure. Still happy to just exchange with Aldo in kickboxing range. And this is the thing, right? Yan does come forward. He does cover distance very quickly, and he commits hard to that right hand. But you've got to wonder whether he's really going to struggle to get inside on the length of Sandhagen, because you don't see sustained pressure from Yan. Like, he comes forward and throws big shots, or comes forward and gets into the clinch, but you don't see him kind of cutting the cage off and forcing his opponents to fight in an uncomfortable range like you get with, you know, like a Diaz, right? And you've also got to wonder if Sandhagen's going to do his homework on Yan and attack the legs, because we've seen Aldo force Yan to switch stances multiple times in this fight by attacking the legs. Like, Yan doesn't check leg kicks, he doesn't react to them, he just takes it. And you've got to think, with the length of Sandhagen, he's going to be able to land those leg kicks on Yan from a range where Yan's going to find it very difficult to counter. So that's a potential big path to victory for Sandhagen. We know Sandhagen likes to use kicks. He mixes it up a lot. because Yan doesn't sustain pressure, he might struggle to get inside on Sandhagen. I do think Sandhagen's worth a bet here. I'm watching this. I can't not bet Yan after. I can't not bet Sandhagen after watching this fight, because I think Sandhagen's going to be able to cause Yan problems with his size, problems with his length. Yan's very susceptible to leg kicks. He's going to be very susceptible to the jabs of Sandhagen. And if Sandhagen just focuses on chipping away at Yan in these ranges when they're both in the middle of the octagon together, and then when Yan blitzes forward, just focuses on backing up and circling away. If Sandhagen plays the role of Matador here and just stays on the outside, chips away at Yan, I do think Sandhagen's going to do very well here. The two major risk factors with Sandhagen, the two major risk factors to Sandhagen is, number one, obviously, if Yan comes in with a grappling heavy game plan, but he rarely does. So, if that happens, it happens. Like I always say, whenever you're looking at betting big underdogs, right, you've always got to take big risk factors on board. No one's going to feel confident in Sandhagen this weekend. You probably don't even think Sandhagen's the most likely guy to win. But in terms of who gives you the better risk to reward ratio out of both these guys, it's Sandhagen all day. If you put up $100 on Yan, you're only getting 40 back. If you put up $100 on Sandhagen, you're getting $200 back. Much better risk to reward ratio on what likely is going to be a competitive fight. And even if you think Yan's going to edge it, I'd be very surprised if anyone watching what we've watched tonight comes out and says they think Yan is going to dominate. I don't think either guy is going to dominate this fight. I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be very competitive. I think there's a good chance it goes the distance as well. Both guys are going to win rounds. Both guys are going to have their moments. And both guys have got big weaknesses that the other can exploit. So that's the first risk, right? The risk of grappling is there. Although, like I say, Yan doesn't usually utilize that kind of game plan. And I will also say this, it's not going to be easy for someone that's 5'7" to take down, hold down and control someone that's 5'11", especially with Sandhagen talking about his regrets after the Dillashaw fight, allowing Dillashaw having those positions for too long. And then I also think the second risk factor would be if Yan comes in with a style of sustained pressure. So what I mean by that is, I think Sandhagen can have tons and tons and tons of success playing the role of Matador in this fight, where when they're stood in the middle of the octagon in kickboxing range, Sandhagen just uses his length to kind of pepper Yan with that jab and those leg kicks. I think Sandhagen's going to do a lot of damage and rack up major volume. I also think Sandhagen's going to do very well if when Yan blitzes forward and attacks him and really sits down on that right hand and lets it go, instead of Sandhagen trying to stand his ground and fire back with counters, if he just doesn't play that game at all and just circles away. Now, if the fight plays out like that, I think Sandhagen's very, very likely to win. My concern would be if Petr Yan starts to sustain pressure. So what we've seen from him in most of his fights, Rivera, Aldo, Sterling, is he alternates between two different ranges, right? He cranks it up and then turns it down. He turns it up and then turns it down. Turns it up, turns it down. Spends a lot of time in kickboxing range, and every once in a while, he'll come forward, blitz forward, and attack you. If Sandhagen makes sure he's not there for those attacks, he's going to do pretty good. And we know Sandhagen's very good at reading his opponents, slipping shots and circling away. My concern would be if Petr Yan switches to like a full-on pressure style, where when Sandhagen goes to back up and circle away, instead of Yan doing what he does often, which is go back to the centre of the octagon and get back into a kickboxing match in the middle of the octagon, we start to see Yan use his footwork to cut the cage off and force Sandhagen to fight on the outside and force Sandhagen to fight in an uncomfortable range. I think if Yan does that, this is a really, 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 really hard fight for Sandhagen. And I think there's a good chance Yan will do that. However, based on his past performances, I do think, when you look at the odds, 1.40 minus 250 Yan, implied probability of 70%, 3.0 plus 200 on Sandhagen, implied probability of 30%. I feel like Sandhagen's a bit of a no-brainer here, even though this is going to be a tough fight for him for sure. I mean, it's going to be a tough fight for both guys, but I do think Sandhagen's worth a bet, even though it will be very, very, very tricky fight. Very tricky. All right, let's get into the next one. Let's go. Round 4. Let's get into it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, like I say, there's risk factors with every bet, and when you're betting a big underdog, you've got to be prepared to take on some pretty major risk factors, or else they wouldn't be underdogs in the first place. But in terms of a risk to reward ratio, I do think Sandhagen is a good bet here, because you've got to think about it. He didn't barely have any experience going the distance before he fought Dillashaw. He's now got 5 rounds under his belt. He knows how to pace himself over 5 rounds now. We've heard him talk on the MMA Hour about all the mistakes he made against Dillashaw and how he regrets making those mistakes. So good chance he comes in, having learned from those mistakes, good chance he comes in with a much better performance, a much smarter performance against Yan. We also know he's got a big size advantage. He's young anyway, so he should be making big improvements from fight to fight. So should Yan, to be fair. But we also know that even though Yan is extremely good at what he does, you also kind of know what you're getting from him. You know? Like, you're watching him here. He's a very good boxer. Covers distance very quickly. He's got big power. He's good defensively. But, you know, he's very susceptible to the leg kicks. Very susceptible to the jab. And like I say, he does alternate between 2 different ranges. This range he's in now, where he's coming forward, forcing you onto the back foot and he's attacking you. Or that range where he's in the middle of the octagon, and that's where Sandhagen can do big work. So yeah, do like Sandhagen here. Do like it. But obviously a very risky bet. But we'll see what happens, man. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, boys. But yeah, this is going to be obviously small as well. That goes without saying, right? You'd have to be insane to feel confident in Cory Sandhagen here. So you've got to bet him small. You don't want to put too much money on him. You'd have to be crazy to bet on. You'd have to be crazy to bet big on Sandhagen. But you'd also have to be crazy to think there's value in Yan at 1.40. That is not easy to find value on. Not easy. Like, even here in round 4, right? Look at round 4, significant strikes landed. Round 4, both guys landed pretty much the same number of strikes. We're talking about Jose Aldo, a guy that we know slows down as the fight wears on. By this stage in the fight, if Yan was fighting Sandhagen, his face would be like he'd driven into a tree. You know what I mean? Yan would have taken so much damage by this time in the fight against Sandhagen. I mean, look at how much damage Sandhagen was able to inflict on TJ from behind that jab. And I'm not seeing anything from Yan's style that tells me that Sandhagen can't have a lot of success with the jab or a lot of success with the leg kicks. I don't think those are 2 things that Yan deals particularly well with. So yeah, I will be betting Sandhagen. The odds do seem quite off here. If I was capping this fight, I think I would have, if I was setting the odds on this fight, I would have Sandhagen at like a 2.30 plus 130 underdog, or maybe like 2.40 plus 140 underdog. I lean like 60-40 in favour of Yan here. If I was capping this fight, I would have Sandhagen at 2.30, 2.40, and I'd have Yan at about 1.70, 1.72, something like that, which would be minus 140-ish. That's how I would cap this fight. I think 60-40 in favour of Yan, fair enough. Outside of that, it gets a little bit weird for me. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the odds move either. Obviously, it's only Monday. As more attention comes on this fight, as more money starts to come in this week, I wouldn't be surprised to see Sandhagen's odds decline down to maybe 2.60, 2.70, something like that. minimum. I'd be surprised if Sandhagen stayed this big of an underdog this week. I will say that. I will say that. So yeah, boys, we're almost done with this one. So what I'll do, I'll take a quick break after this fight, boys, and then we'll come right back and we'll do another fight. We'll research it over on Twitch. Still got a couple fights to do, but we will get into them, man. We will get into them. So sync up round 5 for me. Sync up round 5. So round 5 starts at 27 minutes 35 seconds. 27 minutes 35 seconds. 27 minutes 35. Yeah, you know what, Brett? I'm not going to go too big on this one, man. I think Yan's an absolute beast. But I do think Sandhagen is criminally underrated here. Alright, boys. Let's get this next one going. Sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh. Let's go. So this is where I think Aldo's too tired to defend himself by this stage in the fight, right? And Yan just hammers him from top position. Like I say, Yan is a very good grappler. He is a very physically imposing fighter, but it won't be easy for someone as small as Yan to control someone like Sandhagen in these positions because of how scrambly Sandhagen is off the bottom. It's different if Sandhagen's going to choose to be held down, but it's different if Sandhagen chooses to be held down. But if Sandhagen shows some urgency to work his way back up to his feet, it will be difficult for Yan to hold him down. Even though he is a better grappler than Sandhagen. So anyway, boys, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it, everybody. And we will be back in a little while to research some more fights. Going to try and squeeze in 2 more fights for the NFL game starts. But yeah, nice one, boys. Thank you all for watching. I think this is it. Or is the ref not going to stop it? I do remember everyone complaining about a late stoppage in this fight. But that is going to be it, boys. We don't need to see Aldo getting hammered for any longer than this. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care. And I will see you guys in the next stream. Nice one.